Craftsmen of our faith. Hey, anybody out there crafting our faith? How many citizens are out there crafting the fate of Barbados? How many of us are out there? We are working and we are seeing to it that the fate of Barbados is crafted. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Weeks Show. We are coming to you live from Barbados. Oh my goodness, and it's an exciting night. Tonight it is Wednesday, June 18th, and I tell you, we are full. We have a packed program for you tonight. We're going to be looking at crime, all different types of crime. We're going to try to open up the covers and look underneath there, man. And I want you involved with me tonight. I want you staying with me tonight. I want us rolling together. We have Michelle is going to come on. Mr. Alwyn Babs messaged me. He's coming on as well. And we also have Victor Lewis, an former police officer, is going to be on. We're going to have an amazing time. Lots of education. That's what we do on the Marcia Week Show. We educate. We motivate, we mobilize, we agitate. Somebody said it's spelled Emma, E-M-M-A. I didn't even realize that. What we do on this, it's all about Emma. It's all about Emma. We educate, we mobilize, we mobilize. What's the next one? I'm forgetting. Motivate, and we agitate. Emma. It's all about Emma tonight. And believe me, I want you to get your pen and papers ready. I want us to delve into this tonight. This is a really interactive session. Very interactive. Okay. I want us to be interacting tonight. You know what I feel like doing tonight? I feel like opening up the lines from the time we start. From 7:30, I want us to open the lines and to have this dialogue tonight, back and forth tonight, as the guests and myself, and we go through. Our session tonight it's more interactive than anything else. Okay, that's what we're gonna do tonight. We're talking about from peace to panic, the new reality of crime in Barbados. From peace to panic. The new reality of crime in Barbados. Let me take a moment before we delve in to welcome Teroni Hall. Good night, Teroni. Are you being a good craftsman of the faith of your faith here in Barbados? Teroni, are you involved in what's happening in Barbados, in making Barbados a better place? Lucinda Allen, how are you? Are you a firm craftsman of our faith? Are you involved in crafting the faith of Barbados? That's what we're doing with the show tonight, guys. We're not here making up time and warming seats. And it's a warm bench. Bonnie Springer, Monica Ince, Queen D. We are going to put our thinking caps together. We are going to look at look at Barbados. Let's look at Barbados. So what is happening? Bajan boy, Matthew Brown, you were amazing on Saturday. You did a great job. Diana husband, Owen Hines, Marcia Miller. Good night, Marcia. How are you? I'm going to ask you guys to share. Please share. Is it Marcia Miller from St. Philip? If that's you, please put it in the bottom so I can differentiate between the Marcias, okay? Joy and Faith, Aaron Hunt, Chantel Williams, Jacqueline Ward, Mildred Ben, how are you doing? Tanisha Ford, are we ready tonight? School is in session. It's all about Emma tonight. Educate, mobilize, motivate, agitate. Yes, Cammie. Cammie, how you doing? Esther Blue, Hasbra, Born Again, Lori Bob, Michael Jilks, Queen McQueenis. Huh? Judith and Clark. Where's Judy Gill? Where Judith and where is my friend Judy Jilks? Where Judy Jilks? I'm not seeing her. Sterling Clark. I see Michael Jokes though. Yes, Sterling, you're right. Lots of determination is needed. And as you said their peace comes from a good heart. Now, I chose the topic tonight from peace to panic because unless we were under a rock, we would have seen that over the last couple of days, between, I would say, Sunday to now or Saturday to now, it's just been, you see how I'm shaking my head is what we've been doing. We've just been shaking our heads. As church, the St. Stephen's, they were cleaning the church and somebody jumped the wall, went over and grabbed at somebody's chain. We're hearing about that. We remember the lady was the nurse, the Ghanaian nurse who was walking there near the district hospital, leaving work. She was stabbed in her neck, and I spoke with someone close to the situation. Her other parts of her neck was cut as well. We're being told that there's an unreported, and again, if the police, if we're wrong, if what we're saying on here is wrong, let us know, because it is appearing to us, police service, that there are a lot, it seems as though, let's be responsible, seems as though there are quite a number of unreported incidents of crime in Barbados. And so I was speaking with people in my community, and they were saying they know the person in St. Philip who got off the bus and was chopped in their head with a hoe. Somebody tried to actually robbed this woman, and her police. Is this true? District C, if you're listening, is this true? Was this reported to the police and not reported to the media? Or was it reported to the media and the media is not reporting it? Is there an underreporting of these crimes? Very important. And with all of this that's happening, I mean, we all of us at night now, we're going to our bed, we're looking at our door. We're looking to see how secure the door is, because we saw a picture where a saw was used to cut out an entire door. People are saying to me they're having difficulty, Judith. They're having difficulty falling asleep because they're worried that people are going to come into their home and attack them and hold them hostage. Yes, I was told that too, but I don't know. What about the lady, that lady who was a elderly woman coming from the senior games, huh? And she was robbed of $2 and a few cents and almost lost her leg for nothing. $2 and something cents. This is the kind of Barbados that we're living in. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said this is a bloody decade. That's a Tanisha. We will have to say this is a bloody decade. It's a very, very serious thing. I saw someone sent me a post that Eric Lewis put up and on his Facebook page, and I want to read it for you. And he says that, listen, the way things are going, we might end up. He believes that everybody in here will be robbed at some point. He was saying, I wanted to read it exactly for you. But this is the kind of things that's happening in our beloved Barbados. And you know what? Somehow they want us to remain quiet about it. Somehow they don't want us to say anything about it. Right? Eric Lewis wrote, eventually you or a family member will be robbed at gunpoint. You have to walk, you're walking in faith. But the reality is that you've got to be you have to have your wits about you. You have to know exactly what you're doing. It's not just praying alone, but to know exactly what is it that you're doing as you go out there. There was someone coming to visit me in St. Philip. I mean, St. Philip is becoming this place people are afraid of. And she told me she didn't even want to open her window to ask anybody. In fact, her family told her, don't open your window to ask anybody any questions. Right? People are writing on social media. This is somebody wrote this guy wrote this. He's a comedian, Omar Watson, and some of it has bad words, so I spell it well as much as I think I need to. He says someone messaged me yesterday telling me to stop portraying Barbados so negatively. Did you all hear that? This is Omar Watson. He wrote on his page that someone messaged him yesterday telling him to stop portraying Barbados so negatively. And I'm sure that's what they try to say that we are doing. He says, I didn't bother to respond because they could only be, and a C word, he said. What I will say is that today marks the start of week 25. And we are at homicide number 25. I only talk about what I see. And if that's negative, then so be it. And I can bet you that is one of those persons that have drunk the Kool-Aid. And they don't want us to talk about this. Is serious. It could be this, if it is true, if the underreporting is true, it could be the same set of people who are seeking to underreport. It could be. All I will say is if you're going to be wiretapping my phone, top it up at the same time too. While eating my breakfast, I could see a friend of mine send me photos of a home in Wanstead where the doors were broken in and young ladies were apparently attacked. Before I could finish reading that story, I received another one about an elderly lady getting attacked in Haywoods. So, what you all want me to post about, the gentleman said. This is on Facebook, right? This is on Facebook. He said, so what do you all want me to post about? Jokes? Every day? And he used an expletive there, every day. And this is the environment we are living in. Omar Watson, come to the front of the class. Omar Watson said, you want me to post jokes every day? And this is the environment we're living in, where an elderly woman was robbed of $2 and a few cents and her leg was almost cut off? How many of you agree? How many of you agree with Omar? He says, Omar says, I got jokes on top of jokes to post. But this expletive that is happening right now isn't funny. How many of you agree with Omar? He's a comedian. They want him to post comedy. The same thing with Eric Lewis. And I rate these people. I rate them using their social media pages to bring awareness to what is happening to us here in Barbados. The young man says, listen, or this man, I got jokes on top of jokes, but I am not going to post any jokes when this is what is happening in Jamaica, in Barbados. He says, the motley crew needs to understand. What the motley crew needs to understand is you can only distract the people for a while. The crime is knocking on everyone's door. So this is what they come and they put something shiny. I don't even have anything shiny, just a nail clip. And they put this here and they're distracting you, right? But the crime is knocking on everyone's doors now. Great piece of writing there. I love that imagery. Just a matter of time before the right or, in your view, the wrong person ends up being a victim. And he says, now let me finish my barbecue wings before someone steals them at gunpoint and leaves me with more lead than a pencil. Yeah? So he normally posts anybody, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, they want him to post jokes. And he's like, how could I post jokes? Hey, Judy, you're back. I was looking for you. Huh? They want us to come on here and sing kumbaya and whatever. And this is what is happening in our country. And let me tell you something. I'm not in any jokes to anybody. We're in a serious situation. Don't come on here in this comment section and try to distract people from dealing with the issues. Okay? Please. You do that, admin is going to take care of you. All right? Please. This is not a time to joke or party. Party, you need to get in your house. Make sure you get inside your house. Right? Okay. So, Steve, you're in America and you're in the UK. It's not a so-called crime, Steve. It is real. Yes, there might be motivation, which we're going to deal with that another night, for us to go into turn the police into military and then put them on the street. I understand all of that. But we live here, and I have had to tell people overseas this. This is not a joke. And this is not no so-called crime. It is crime because people are being hurt and people are being robbed. Okay? Good. So we need to make sure I'm being very firm with this, because a lot of times we don't want to deal with what's happening. We're projecting, oh, this is what they plan to do. We know that, folks. But the reality is we are living in a very serious thing. You might not be living in Barbados, but the truth is that it is a real problem here. This is something that Stetson Babbitt was on his page, so anybody could read it. Okay, Stetson Babbitt, he was I think the editor for at Starcom. He wrote on his Facebook page, they're using a power saw now to break into homes and rob people. He says, really? Shake my head. Years ago in Jamaica, there was a police unit nicknamed the Eradication Squad. That was even mentioned in songs, because when they turn up, and he put, he just put that. Here, people are feeling very uneasy. Tough measures are required, and all of you need to give the police your full support. Pick a side, and I am in agreement with that. Someone was asking Mr. John Herbert, his question is it true that the police came 1 hour after the call for assistance? If that is true, are we going to pretend that it's not important? If that is true, wouldn't that require an investigation also? Mr. John Herbert, come to the front of the class. How many of you believe that there should be an investigation into why the police took, if it is true, the police took an hour to go to that home in Wanstead, where they cut into the people's homes with a saw? Yeah. How many of you believe there should be an investigation? Now, all of your thoughts, write them down. From 7:30, we're going to have the lines open, and anything you hear, you can either type. We're being very interactive tonight. You can either type it in, or you can go ahead and call us in. Make the calls quick, right? No, nothing too long. We're going to have former Senator Gill is going to come on, and he will have a long talk at 9 o'clock on the phone. Okay. Yeah. So listen here, folks. How many of you believe that that there should be an investigation into why the police took so long to to arrive on the scene. Can I tell you? Years ago, we had a burglary. We had an issue at our home here with not nothing like that. Just somebody came in a burglary, and we contacted District C. And do you know how long it took them to you know how long it took District C to come to my home? Anybody could guess. I want you to guess. We're interactive tonight. Anybody could tell me. Thanks, Dave. It took them a day. They came the next day. Do you hear me? The next day. Yes, sugarcane. 2 hours? Valerie, go sit down. The next day. They came, you're right, sugarcane. And when I spoke with somebody else in my community, they told me it took them, that happened to them as well. And they called the police, and it took them a whole day, the following day. And I remember the police came to my home. When it came, of course, I'm going to give them my mouth. And I asked them, what is this all about? Why did it take you a day? You know what they told me at that particular time? And they told my neighbor the same thing, who told me that yesterday. You know what they told us? They have one van, one police car that services, listen to this, St. John and St. Philip. District C, is that still the case? Services St. John and St. Philip. St. Philip, as far as I know, based on our little research we did yesterday, because we're doing a special motorcade for St. Philip. And by the way, it's not going to be this Sunday. We're going to talk about that. It's going to be the following Sunday, because we have to do some planning. Approximately 30,000 people live in St. Philip. And according to what the police told me, I don't know if it has changed. Listen carefully. And told other people in our community here, they have one vehicle, one police vehicle to service 2 parishes. If that is true, you don't think that the robbers know that? You don't think the gunmen know that they don't have enough resources? See? And this is the thing. I don't know. Easy D, where do you live? Are you living in Barbados? You see, you're making a joke of this. You are making a joke of this. I'm saying, I'm going to assume you might be living outside of Barbados and not realizing the seriousness. I'm asking you to, guys, let's be sensitive. This is not funny. It's not funny. I'm serious. It's not funny. If you had somebody breaking and entering your home and you call the police and the police is going to come the next day, that's not funny. So as citizens, we need to call out these things. We need to speak out on these things. We need to agitate on these things. And that's what we're using the program for. Because it's one thing, guys, to say we're afraid. Right? No, but listen, let's face the fears and let's deal with them. We want a police service that has the resources. I can't call the police and the police is coming to me the next day for a robbery. Worse yet, go and have let you have in your home, you have any kind of physical abuse in your home. That man would kill that woman before the police get there, or vice versa. Don't even domestic abuse, days before some of them come. Yes? And this is what, these are things that we have to use. And we're going to talk when the police comes, when Victor Lewis comes in, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So for them to take an hour, it's not unusual in Barbados. It's just not unusual. They don't come on time. Yes, Tamika is saying an investigation of the practices of the police and their response time to situation is needed. Something is very wrong. It's a dereliction of duty. Yes, our tax dollars fund the police. So why are we pretending? You don't think, guys, think about it. You don't think the criminals have studied this and they know that the police does not respond quickly? You don't think they know that? What do you think, guys? Let's make this interactive. The police service is on demand. So somebody's saying now that the active police service on duty, police on duty at night is very limited. I was told that as well. I was told that. I remember one time the person said, well, I'm the only one here. And the police said, I'm the only one here. And then the vehicle is gone out. So if somebody was inside cutting my throat, that's the end of that. God forbid. Yes. Yeah, it's needed. The police. So this is why I'm saying that what we want our government to be serious about what it is that they're doing. Right? And Easy D is saying that over 200 police. Actually, there were not really police. Those were not really police. They're not fully trained as police. It is doing something, but it's a far cry from what is needed. And why it is a far cry, Easy D, when you consider how much money has been borrowed in this country and how we spend money in the country. When the citizens feel insecure, that's a primary function of government. Security is a primary function of government. Right? Exactly. This is what I'm saying. CD, that's what I'm saying. And that's why I say, as citizens, let us have a talk about it, because if the police are not proper, they're not manned, they don't have the resources. The criminal, a good criminal, is going to study that, because the mechanism that is set in place to stop the police, to stop the criminals, is the police. And if you're going to get into crime and going to be a good criminal, you're going to study what is going on. You're going to have to try to outsmart the police, right? Okay, somebody's saying, yeah, you're all kidding about the police being elsewhere. Okay, the police assigned to one said would be Black Rock or Holetown. And there aren't stations that would deal with issues in the Ivy. That may be District A. So are you saying, Liana, that they were nowhere close? The state, we don't have enough. I mean, I know for St. Philip, someone was telling me that there was an outpost um, in Six Roads, but we don't see it anymore in Six Roads. Our thing is about how we want to look at, we want to be able to say to our government, if they came and they said, okay, they're going to one of the crime fighting strategies that they're going to be employing this number of police are training this number. They are going to be buying more, police vehicles. They're going to more outposts and so on. Then you can see the practical working of, what it is that they plan to do. But all of these pie in the sky stuff that they're doing, that something is wrong here, something is drastically wrong. And I just want to commend those that are speaking up on social media, like the ones that I read tonight. There's more, but the ones that I read tonight, I want to thank God for those people who are speaking up, right? But and look at this song here. The Calypsonians, we called out the Calypsonians, we did. And I'm looking to send Dave something here that we can play a little later in the show, because tonight we want a frank discussion tonight about crime. Okay. Yeah, Tom Dolly, we're giving away free land. Some of that money now could have been used to outfit the police, etc. Right? Carol, I'm going to read your Marcia. I know of a domestic dispute in St. James. The police took about 3 days. You see what I'm telling you? I'm not making it up. This is our reality in Barbados where we live. And this is as a result of bad governance. You and I can take up and we can change this. So they could tell us, yes, there are things that we need to do as citizens, but we can't change this. This is out of our control. Not even the police can change this. This has to come from higher up. They said the police took about 3 days. When they visited the man's family, told them he slept at his girlfriend's house. It appears that was the same woman. Well, I don't know what all of that part has to do with. But the point is this, that we are paying lip service. It's not real. It's not real. And this is not we're not, crashing on the police, and we're not dragging the police. That's not what I'm doing here, because they can't even do anything about their situation. It needs proper governance, right? Well, I want to move on, but the comments are coming in fast and furious. I see Michelle there. I want to play this song and then we go into our next segment. The police is not treated or paid properly. Many left to go to Bermuda and Cayman Islands, where they paid 70,000 US and 38,000 US annually as starting salaries. Oh my Lord. Yeah, I want you to bring in. I'm going to play this song and then I'm going to bring in Michelle. Oh Lord. Should I play? I want to bring in Michelle first. Oh Lord, I come here and I'm not doing what I plan to do, because I'm following you guys. I'm taking the lead from you. Let me welcome Michelle, my traveling partner.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Barbados. Good night for everyone in the diaspora. I want to thank everyone for coming out on Saturday to March. Uh, Everyone was passionate. You're passionate about something. We have to activate and do something about it. So those passionate, and even those that couldn't come out, want you to pray. We want you to pray for whatever whatever you can do to help us. But I got a few messages of those who said they were they invalid or they had trouble and they couldn't come out, but they would pray for us. So we welcome that also. But I would definitely like to thank everyone, and I've met a lot of people. They know me, and now I know them.
Yes, Michelle. And thank you for your
Yes.
support. We have one more hand here to help, and she comes in like a boss and helping, so lifting up our hands and encouraging us. And I'm sure being here, I'm saying to her, Michelle, trust me, you have to live here to understand what we're going through, right, Michelle? That's my
Uh,
mantra with you,
uh,
Michelle. You got to live here to see and to
yeah.
understand. So
Yes.
yeah, I
I
mean it.
I understand. I understand a lot of it. You're on the topic of the police. I have only had good interactions with the police. I can honestly say that They have been courteous to me. Any problem I have ever had, they have been able to try and help me and solve the problem. But yes, their response time is is not acceptable, not acceptable at all. I had a particular incident, and the police, they only have one police car. So if the police car, one
Where
police
was
car,
this? Which parish was this? It's
this was
interesting.
in this was in St. Joseph. This was in St. Joseph. I
St.
had it in
Joseph. So they only
St.
have
Joseph.
one police car in
They had
St.
one
Joseph.
police car. Yes. So what happened is it's a change of shift, and one tour, what we call them tours, is taking a prisoner to somewhere, and then the other shift that's coming in, they don't have a vehicle to go out. So my incident occurred where I was, I had to needed the police in the middle of shift change, and they didn't have a vehicle, so I had to wait. I had to wait. So I'm a public servant myself, so I have great affinity for the police, for public service workers, and I completely understand what pressures they understand under, and I understand the bureaucracy that they have to face. Some of them just want to be out there to just work, get the job done, investigate, do what they have to do, but then there's these other things that are involved that keep them from doing it. And if you're not equipped, no, you cannot help the public, and you can't do your job, and it becomes frustrating. And the job is frustrating, and then you have to deal with the bureaucracy of the job. So I
Yeah.
completely understand, and I'm always, always, always for the police. I believe in good governance, good policing, but things have to change, because there's no way that you should be waiting hours and days when you dial the emergency line, and you need service. That's unacceptable.
Yes, yes, it is. And so that's why we're highlighting it, Michelle, because we're hoping that somebody would be listening and there would be an investigation into the response time of our of the police service. That is an important thing to look into at this moment. Because a lot of citizens, Michelle, they're not comfortable. And as we go on in the program a little later, we're going to talk about, what can the citizens do, because they're people are talking now about getting their own licensed firearms, and we need to talk about those kinds of things. Not want to mention it now because I want everybody on when we are talking about it. And,
Sure.
and how important we think, there's some people who really believe that that is important. So
Yes.
we're gonna do that at 8:30 when the policeman comes on.
Response time is very important. And part of managing public safety is managing, looking at times, looking who is responding, who is not responding, and holding officers and holding public servants accountable for their time. So that is also a part of managing public safety. It's not just about uh, you know interactions with the general public. There's also in the background things that go on that help the police and help public service to be better at what they do. And if someone is not paying attention to those things, if someone's not scrutinizing procedures, scrutinizing times, this is where things fall apart, and the public does not get served properly.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Sonny writing here because why, are we to believe because the PM is saying the police is asking about it for the tint, but not for vehicles? You think the police would be? I would. I really want that proven to me that the police is who asked for the tint. And if you're telling me in St. Joseph that the police they had one vehicle, I am telling you the last time, and I'm gonna say it because somebody gonna write me and say, well, I am saying that myself and the neighbors are saying that for St. John and St. Philip, they're told that there was one, we had one police vehicle. You're saying that
I
they
believe
told
you.
you, huh?
Yes. I had to, matter of fact, I was at the incident, and I had to come to the police station and sit at the police station and wait, and then drive. Once the vehicle came back, then we drove back to the location where I was having the
Listen,
problem.
and they could be serious about crime in this country. They could be serious about crime reduction in this country. That's a lie. That is a lie. That is not true. That's impossible. Impossible. Wouldn't one think that that is the first thing, Michelle? You lived in America and you were
Yes,
in emergency services.
yes, yes. And I'm going to tell you that this is not how it works.
You
We
were
under
working with the
pressure.
fire department, right?
Yes, yes. I'm retired from the New York City Fire Department, and you are scrutinized for every second. Every second counts. It's you only get one life, and you only get one opportunity to help someone. And delayed time, someone has to answer for. So if it's the person who delayed getting to the assignment, or the person who delayed assigning it to the crew, someone has to answer for it. The public now wants to know. The public is staying out, the public is calling, they're on the phone, someone get here. And then after that, they do an investigation. And, because the public is asking what took EMS, what took the fire so long to, to, um,
So
to
you're saying
respond.
in New York, if there is a delay, there will be an investigation.
An absolute investigation. Someone is taking the hit for that. Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. No questions asked. Absolutely. And it doesn't matter how, let's say how critical the assignment. You are allotted a certain amount of time, let's say 10 minutes. The rule is 10 minutes to an assignment. If it's something, you're allotted a certain amount of time to be on the scene, treat and transport, or to wrap up the assignment. You cannot just be, just standing around and talking. You're on strict timeline, because there are other assignments out there to do. Um, and we have things called like the golden hour. There's an hour in certain instances, less than an hour, like a person having a stroke or something, is less than an hour before the symptoms could become worse and maybe even permanent. So we have strict rules, strict protocols, and we have to abide by them, or someone has to answer them. And when I say answer, people think that, oh, it's just, it's writing reports, suspension, whatever, leading determination. It is a serious matter.
Serious.
Serious
This would be a serious thing. Now, Liana, if you can provide us some proof. Remember what I said, Liana. I'm not trying to play with the issue. And remember what I said. I said when the last time that we spoke with the police, myself and the neighbors that live where I live in St. Philip, and here it is, someone is saying here that you said to that they told you that it was one, they only had one vehicle. That
matter.
was what was told to me on
Well,
two
like I said,
occasions,
the
Liana.
officers, my situation wasn't emergent where, a life or death situation, but you still want, like you want the police to respond not in 3 hours. I mean, it might have took about that 2 or 3 hours in order for them to actually go out to the scene and take a report, and do what was needed for the incident I was involved in. But that's still a long time, even for a non-emergency. That is 3 hours is still a long
It's
time,
still
because
a
the
long time.
reason why is because if someone is having a dispute, things could change. It can go from argument to something else if the police doesn't respond in a matter of time. And that's the way, like cooler heads prevail if police show on the scene sooner than later. So that's what you try to respond to, keep it from escalating to another level, or even to a deadly situation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And someone here is saying, that that they were, where is it, Sunny had a comment here. And Liana, can you message me some information? That's why I said, if somebody is watching from District C, and if you've had more vehicles, please let us know. But that was the last time that I checked. That is what I was told, people.
Well, my hope is for the police in Barbados. Like I said, I've had interactions, friendly interactions, professional interactions
Of course.
with the police, and my hope for the police is that they are served as human beings, as people, as they are served. They have to be served also. There's no way that these salaries that I'm hearing that they receive can keep families, keep livelihoods, keep roofs over their heads, and then they have the stress of family matters, trying to feed their families, and then got to go out and police, and then police without proper equipment or proper training or even update themselves, because crime changes. The crime we have now is not the crime of 20 years ago, you know. So um I really feel for the police, and I hope that, you know, things turn, have there's a turn for the better for them in reference to their personal benefits, and as well as them getting being trained and the proper equipment they need to do their job, to show the public that that's what they're there for. I mean, like, service just can't be there as a performative service, you know, banding and marching and all of that stuff. We people really want to see policing. They want to see patrols at night. You know, everyone wants to be out, be able to sit in front of their place and play cards, play dominoes, and want to see the police patrolling through the neighborhoods, making sure that and tampering down some of this stuff that's going on in Barbados, because it's only going to get worse. It's not going
Yeah.
to get any better.
I think Liana was saying that she believes that they were supposed to have been given new vehicles and
Mhm.
etc., which is why we're calling for an investigation. Thank you for that, Liana. Why we're calling for an investigation, and why I'm saying, do you have new vehicles? And if you have new vehicles, what is the problem? What is the problem? What is slowing down the response time? Why are so many people saying it taking a day, it take an hour, it take 2 hours, it take 3 hours? We could be dead before they get here, right? So we need to, if we're this is a we're it's a different Barbados we're in, and so we have to respond differently. And people are on here from Canada. Michelle is from the diaspora. She's in tonight because or this is our diaspora night, and Adrian is not here. Michelle is here, and she's telling us what normally happens. And Sonny comment here is saying, is it correct that I heard MPs getting new EV BMWs? Maybe priorities are wrong. Police need the vehicles. Is this true? Are they getting? Anybody has anything can tell us on this? Where this is all interactive tonight. This is about our Barbados together.
That
Is
would
it
be a
true?
sad state. That would be a sad state if we have politicians riding around better than the police. That's a sad state to be.
Well, look at the
I would
salary.
not I would not want to hear or know, even as a police officer, I would not want to know that we have politicians riding around and more equipped than the police. I would not want to know that, honestly.
Yeah,
Then
and
I had to also ask a question, because I know the police are listening. Like, why are they not asking? You know, like, why is the police service not asking for what they want, what they need, asking for better, asking for improvement, asking to police differently? Why are they not asking? We don't hear that. We don't hear. I don't really remember hearing from the police commissioner. I don't really remember in reference to these type of things, like why we're not asking for better. I mean, does the police have a benevolent association? Does the police have someone to represent them to say, hey, we have fellow police officers out here that are in need? I mean, you can't bring in a new generation, a new younger generation of officers, train them, and think that they're going to fall in line to what's going on. They're not. They're not going to last. They're going to move on to something else, because the younger generations think differently than we. You know, like, our parents tell us to get a job and stay in the job until, till we end, till our end is near, right? But the younger people don't think like that. If it's not something that they care about, and it's not something that they feel that they're motivated, or they can it can further better them, they're going to leave. So then you're going to have a shortage of trying to recruit younger generation into the police force.
yes, somebody's saying here, thank you, Liana. And those of you who are if you're just joining, and some of you might not have done it yet, folks, we are just touching about 800. It just went 800 and it dropped. Folks, this is a very good discussion tonight. I want you to take a pause and to share and to like. That's important. That's part of what we do together, right? Michelle and I, we prepare ourselves and we come on, and you do the sharing for us. You do the liking for us. So we're going to ask you to like and share. Send it out to the different your WhatsApp groups. If you haven't done that yet, take this moment to do that, please. Okay. Leanna Bell says, Lena Bell, thank you, Lena. Lena says, between last week and this week, I've seen at least 3 cars unmarked with sirens and lights. Today, something happened in Black Rock, and they were what looked like new vehicles in responding to. So, thank you for that information, which is even more important, Michelle.
Mhm.
Why there needs to be an investigation into why there is a slow response. This is not the same Barbados. And I think that's
Right.
what Lena is saying. We are not living in the same Barbados. When
No.
people are now saying that they're going to come in at 6 o'clock in the evening, Michelle, it is not the same Barbados that we're living in.
No.
And therefore, the police response needs to be better. And in order for the police to do their work, they need the full support of the government of the country. Agree?
I think that from my experience, I've been in and out of Barbados all my life. Um, it's just a little story I have to tell you. I invited a friend to Barbados for her birthday, for her 50th birthday, a colleague of mine. But I said, like, let's go to a fete, a party, for her birthday. And she said to me, no, we're not going. Why we're not going? I said, well, why we're not going? She says, because when we travel, we don't usually like leave the hotel, leave the premises, leave the thing. Like, why are we starting this now? I said, but this is Barbados. But it did never dawned on me that Barbados, I am so privileged to be, a Barbadian because I have traveled in other countries and I know for a fact as a tourist, you cannot leave the premise. You cannot
You cannot
um,
what?
you cannot leave the premises. You cannot leave the premises unless you're going on a tour, unless you're going, like you have some sort of
Ah,
escort or something like that. Like you're going with a group of people. I've been to Jamaica. I have seen like the Rio and these hotels that have high walls. Even when you're on the bus, you can't even see over the wall. And they'll tell you once you get on the premises, do not you do not tread outside alone. Only go with the tour. So I feel privileged that, I had to say to her, like, this is Barbados. Like, we don't have that problem. Like, tourists, we walk the street, like at nighttime on the South Coast, you decide you want to get up late and get something to eat. You get up and you just walk the road, and it did not dawn on me until we had that conversation that Barbados is truly different than a lot of places that I've been. And I hope that that doesn't change. I hope that we don't get to the point where we can't really, I mean, we have to nip this in the bud sooner than later. I want Barbados to stay the place where tourists can walk, where you don't feel you can get up, you feel you can do as you please in Barbados and not someone not interfere with you or rob you while you walk in the street. I mean, yes, there's everywhere you go, there's going to be crime, but I can tell you from traveling to other places, Barbados, yeah, we really have it good. We really have it good in reference to just being able to just go out.
yes, yes, and we want to preserve that, and
Exactly.
that's what we're
Exactly.
saying.
Yes.
That's what we're saying. People like myself, we're accustomed to, coming from Jamaica, where you're hearing gunshots every night. You came here, you're now here, and you're feel safe here. So obviously there's a change. You're going to speak about it because you don't want it to change. You want
No.
to keep Barbados the way that it is, and but it's not. So therefore everybody will have to we will have to change. In order for there to be change, we all have to change. And the police, who is the only service that we can, something happens, the who we know, we don't call the pastor. Somebody's robbing your house, somebody's is trying to hurt you, you're going to call the police. And so right now they are like one of the most important service providers right now.
Absolutely.
And of course a hospital, and those two services they're languishing. They are not up to par. Or a health service, think about it. you know, our police service and the health service, security and our health, not up to par. What is this? What's going on? And we're seeing all of this money being borrowed, all of this money being spent, and that is what we are talking about here tonight. And I think we have a right to speak about it.
We have a right to ask questions. We have the right to get answers to what, because every minute you're receiving a tax on your pay stub, or you got to pay some sort of tax you know, where you live, you have a right to ask, like, where is the money going that we're paying? What are we paying into? If we don't have safer streets, or a good health care, or, you know, education, the education system is slipping, what are we paying?
Yeah. 1 second, somebody here is saying, you know, there are people who are saying that they want to come home for crop over and they don't want to come anymore because crop over is a time where it's a little freer and so on. Can you imagine, Michelle, what is going to happen in here? And this is why I'm saying to the authorities, those who are listening, there should be a full investigation into the response time. Response time is
That's a place to
important.
start. That's a place to start. But who does those type of investigation? I mean, we live in the world of data. We live in the world of statistics. We live in a world of you know, everything's computerized. This should not be complicated if the system is up to par. If the system is not ready for that, meaning like you can't actually scrape some of this data and use it, you know, raw data, and turn it into something, then, you know, I don't understand how how they budget. I don't understand how they get budget numbers. I don't understand how they make schedules if they don't have the access to using data to create scheduling, to create budget, to fulfill you know, equipment needs and all of these things. So I you know, I hope that part has to be addressed on, because I'm gonna be honest. I go to the police station and I see the officers writing into a journal. I don't know the last time
What
we
do you
used
mean writing into a journal? What do you mean?
like a journal book, like, you know, like
So
accounting. Remember
you're
years
saying you
ago,
went into the police station and they're literally writing in a book.
they write in a journal. They still writing in journals. Like I expect to go into the police station and they hit a computer, click, click, click. You know, they should know who comes in there. Like, you know, like in the diaspora, you go to the hospital, you check in to visit someone. Someone knows that you're there. At the police station, the sergeant at the desk checks you in. They can check how many times you've ever visited the police station, how many times you had a police call. You know, this is data. This is collecting data on the citizen. And this is good data. This is good data. You want to know who comes to the police station. You want to
Yeah.
know why they were there. You want to say, oh, this person has had this problem 7 times, 10 times. You want, that's good data. You want to know that stuff. But I see the police officer writing on the corner of a piece of paper,
Okay,
writing
let me
in a
hold a
journal.
minute. So let's look at that. And that is not, this is not, let me tell you something. I am one of those that I respect the police. So this show, what we're
Absolutely.
this segment, we're not crying down the, we can't, we need them. What we're advocating for,
Absolutely.
we're an advocacy group. Okay, what we're advocating for is better systems for the police, but more
Yes.
resources. How
Yes.
many of you that's here right now? Okay, so Queen D is saying it. How many of you say that you know when you go to the police station, the police
See?
is taking the report from you and writing in an actual book?
Yes.
Let me wait
I said journal, and Queen D said diary. Yes.
in a diary.
You remember before we had computers, we had those big green binders that we did
Yes,
like
Carol
accounting in.
is agreeing with you. So we
Yes.
have two
Yes.
two persons. Let me see, because we
Yes.
don't want to be. We want to be talking. We want to be speaking the truth on
There,
here.
right. I say that because there's no way the police can go back, scroll back on pages to look for something. How can you check if someone comes in and has a question? Hey, I was here 2 weeks ago and I'm following up on the incident that I can I get a police report on the incident that I came in here for 2 weeks ago, and he has to go through a book. This is 2025. I saw him writing the book. I was a little disturbed. And I know this is Barbados, and everybody said, "Oh, this happened in Barbados." But I expected him to ask me for ID when I went to the glass. I had my ID ready to give to him because I'm assuming this is 2025. You want to know who you're speaking to? I can say I'm Michelle, or I can say I'm Jan. You know, but you got an honest person, but you may not get an honest person the next time. So I think that is important for the police. That's important for the police safety. Who comes to the police station? We need to know who is
So
there
before you go
and
on to
why
that,
they're
so
there.
that's another point. Who comes in? So hold that. So we're saying here, think about what Michelle is saying, and it's important to listen to the diaspora. I know sometimes we say, oh, they come in and they want to, they believe they know everything, and some. I told Michelle sometimes that's true. Because let's be real. Sometimes the diaspora, like, they're like, oh, you should do this and you should do that. But no, we're having a serious conversation. Michelle was
Sure, sure.
in the fire department. She worked in the
Yeah,
fire services in New York. So we really need to listen to what she's saying. So what she's saying is that if it is true, and it seems like it is true, because people are saying, oh, yes, somebody says in a big blue book.
there you go. Like
Yes.
we've gone away from that book a long time ago. Like we used to have it here. We used to, like payroll. You come in, you sign in. Now they scan your eyes, scan your finger for you to get into work. Where is all of this technology? And
So,
then that's
so,
old technology. That's
That's
old.
all.
That's
So
not
hold
even
a minute. So hold.
2025.
Let me just summarize what you're actually saying. Barbadians, listen to what Michelle is saying. Michelle is saying, which is a very important point, that if you are putting it into a system, if it's computerized, you're putting it into a system, and there's a software there that will collate the information and give you reports.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So they will give you reports so that at the end of it, it's very easy.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to know exactly what is happening. So that's intelligence as well.
Right.
That's
I want to.
important
I would
intelligence.
want to know, how are you extracting the information from the diaries? How is that being extracted? Like, where is that going? How is that keeping stats? People come in, people call. You write in the book. You do your what we call roll call. One officer comes in, change shift. She writes. He writes. How are you keeping up with this data? Like when the next officer comes in and something happened on the shift prior, how does he know what happened? He's
Mhm.
scrambling through a book. He's flipping pages through a book. And he's like, then he's got to get on the phone and call the guy. The guy's already off. He's like, hey, something happened. Oh, they tell me what happened. We're way past that. This is 2025. We're way past that. Way
Yeah.
past.
So Lena is saying, I love and respect her force, and I do too, because I mean,
Yes,
on Saturday, that police that was with us, oh, they were, those
they were
two,
good to us. Yes,
wonderful all the
yes,
time.
yes.
We work together, and this is why I'm not blaming the police. You can't, if they don't have the resources, it can't be the police fault.
No, and I'm
But
I'm saying this for all resources. I'm saying this for the ambulance service. I'm saying this for fire. Guys, we have to advocate for one another. Like these communities are like international communities. Like we love one, we love them all. It doesn't matter where I go on the planet. If I see a fire station, I love that fire station. That's because that's just the camaraderie that we build amongst officers. That's just it. Like sometimes I'll go to a police station. I've been to police stations in the Philippines. That's it. We build that camaraderie. I'm from here. We talk to each other. So I advocate for, it doesn't matter where you are. I want
yeah,
to see them do better, have better, and because it only helps them in their health and their personal life also. Like you reduce the stress at work, you reduce the things, you make things better at work, then it
yeah.
makes their they go home, their personal life better, their health is better. That too. I want to see police officers monitor their health. I need to see that to know.
But you hold that point there. Let me just read a couple things here that there. This person is saying, okay, there was another thing here. Let me just clarify something here. Peter Hill was saying that it's only a fool thinks the police can respond in time to stop a crime. No, we're not saying that they would
No,
respond in time to stop a crime, Peter.
that's
That's
not how
not
policing works.
that's not how police, we're not saying that. Okay, that's not what we're saying at all. We're talking about, for example, the people who were in their homes, and because look at that family that they cut off the door and went in and so on, and they called the police. If the police has a quick response time, they might even, in while they're coming, they can might have well seen somebody driving away fast from the home. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a part of the investigation. The shorter the time to start doing the investigation. We watch TV first 48. They have they have to do the most investigation in the first 48. That's what that means. That means the closer to the crime you do the investigation, the better chance you have of solving the crime. We're not saying the police should be there when the crime is happening, but they have to start immediately to get the crime solved. If you wait 5 days, that's 5 days of memory. That's 5 days of evidence loss. That's 5 days. It doesn't work. It doesn't work on the behalf of the people
Mm,
the longer you wait. So that's what we're saying. The closer they respond to the incident, okay, the easier, or the they'll be able to collect the evidence better. Evidence, doesn't last long. People move around. Things move around. So that's what policing is about. But like I said, I hope that the police service can advocate for themselves. I pray that they can advocate for themselves,
I
because
don't.
this is
I know they can't be. They're not. I don't think they can't form a union. Caswell had said that, but somebody needs to be speaking up on their behalf.
well,
But
if they pay dues out of their paycheck, if they pay dues, they
no,
should
they
be
can't.
asking a
They're
question.
not allowed to
Uh,
form a union.
you can ask in the chat. I believe that the police pays dues. They pay dues.
To
They should
what?
be
To
asking.
who? To who? A
You
union?
can ask, and they pay dues, so they should be
To
asking for
who?
something.
But to
They
who?
don't. They don't. Do they have a benevolent association? Do they have someone, a benevolent police,
Oh, I see.
a
I don't
police
know. But
benevolent? They
surely
should.
not a union. There might be
No,
some
not a union, but
organization
they should have someone to speak up and speak on their behalf,
on
and
their
they pay
behalf.
dues. Yes.
Well, if there's a police listening and you can let us know, you can message me if you don't want to write in a chat. Do you have any agency that speaks up on behalf of the police? Do you pay dues to any agency? I know it's not to a union, but if you pay, but let's look at the other side. Sweet Pea is saying here, last year December, I called the police. This is her account, huh? Or she's alleging this is what's being alleged that happened. District A, the police came after 2 a.m. and said we wake him up from sleeping out his bed, and he was very annoyed. And the rum on his breath could kill a bear.
We're not laughing. We're not
Listen,
laughing at you, sweetie. We're not
no,
laughing at you.
not laughing at
But
the patrons are
we're not.
so hilarious.
But I could imagine. That's all I'm gonna say is I could imagine. I could imagine. I could imagine.
Well, I don't know. She said bread on it. The rum on his bread could kill a bear. I don't know. I've had good experiences with the police,
Yeah.
and honestly, we're laughing, but we're only laughing because of the way it is said.
Yeah.
Not laughing away the situation, okay? Because if this is happening, then this is all part of the investigation and the reinventing of the police, the change that needs to happen.
Well,
And it comes with good governance, good leadership is what is going to bring about the change. And the citizens need it, because if people are afraid to even open their windows, there that people in the diaspora who are they're saying they don't want to come back. Okay, they don't want to come back, right? So if that is if we definitely need to have that change definitely needs to
well, I
happen.
think we need to understand how the police does business. We can't just rely on what we believe, what we believe that they do. I think that it's important. Maybe the police should meet with the community so that we can understand better what do they do, what are we supposed to do, and how we both can get past this. Past what we want to have a good relationship with the police. Um, we want to understand how the police operates better, I think that's it. I think that's what the community needs to do is just to have a meeting with your local police or whatever district you live and create some sort of uh at some point speak officers, senior officers come out and speak to the public and say what they're doing, say what the plan is, explain to the public, citizens in the community, what they can do to help
Yeah.
them,
What they
what they
can do
can
to
do to
help them.
help
Yeah.
them, help them.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
because I know that there is a lot of unreported crime, and when I say unreported, people don't say what happened to them because for that reason. They know the police is not showing up. So they're not even gonna bother. They don't bother because also they don't believe in the court system. Meaning like you have a dispute with someone, we are of the civil society. We're not going after each other with machetes. We're gonna take you to court, we will sue you, but nothing happens, or your case never makes it into the court, whether it's small claims, meaning like you have a dispute with someone about a merchandise or a car or whatever it is, it never goes anywhere. So there's no hope. So then no one's going to complain, and that also leads to violence. They're
yeah.
going to take it amongst themselves to handle it because they don't believe in the court system and they don't believe in police.
Yeah. Barbados, we're in a very, very serious situation. If all we're talking about, all we're saying here is true. I see somebody, there was another comment who I'm going to try to find it because I know this person is a very reliable person. And that person spoke about the police vehicles. You know who I'm talking about. You have my number. Please if I don't find it, I want to find it before we move on from, this is it here. And this I know is a reliable this is facts here. The police are seriously understaffed. If they get 10 new vehicles, 20 others are decommissioned because they mash up. You see, so this is the truth here that is coming out, and that's why we're saying there needs to be an investigation into the response time, because the citizens do not no longer feel safe in Barbados. There's so many issues, but this is definitely one of the things that we need attention. We need the police service looked into the security of the citizens and the health. If something happens to us as a result of crime, we are scared to go to the QEH. That's a whole nother topic, but this is so important, and I'm so happy for everybody responding to me. And you know
And what everyone's input is very important. How they experience the police is different. Young people experience the police different than the older generation. So it's important that we all discuss about our experiences and our interactions with our public service people, police, everyone, and everyone else, all the public
yeah,
service
yeah,
people.
yeah. Someone here is saying that we need to give credit because the PM deals with these things from the top. So here's a question to you. It's 7 years and it's still the same.
Okay,
We have
hold on,
had
hold on,
no
hold on. Sorry,
changes.
Marcia, I have to cut you off. Hold on. I'm reading the comment. The PM deals with these things from the top. Why is the prime minister in the policing business? I thought the prime minister was in prime minister business, prime ministering, not policing. Help me to understand. How is the prime minister in the police business now? She's the prime minister. She should be prime minister. I'm just saying it like that so you can understand.
Yeah. And so somebody's saying, if I'm very aware, what I said was about leadership. I'm talking about governance. I'm talking about leadership. At no time did I request for the PM to go and get into the police
Exactly.
operations.
Exactly.
We're not advocating that. We're talking, and this is the thing, we got, come on, man. We're educated people. We're
Exactly.
educated people. All right. So we're talking about the way the police service is managed. And that's why I'm saying those who have the authority and they're listening, there needs to be an investigation. At no point are we asking for the PM. And if somebody said, "But the PM is doing this and doing that," well, the big question is, whatever she's doing is not working because it hasn't changed. You
But
see what I mean?
why are we talking about the prime minister when it comes to policing? Because she's not part of the police service. She's not part of the police service. She's the leader of the country. She's not part of the police service. So why are we discussing what the prime minister is doing when we have police, we have commissioners, we have an AG, we have all these other people that are part of the police service that head the police? Why are we not discussing that? So we can't just like put it all on one person. I'm not going to put this on the prime minister. There are many other people involved in policing, and we can't just put this on the prime minister. Um, to discuss policing.
Yeah,
She shouldn't be. She shouldn't be. She's not a police officer.
she's not. And so don't we what we're saying, but it's part of the governing of it's part of leadership, right? So this is what we're talking about, and how money is spent. How much is assigned to the police? The police can't go and buy the vehicles themselves, can they? you know
Absolutely
so
not.
it has to be coming from somewhere. So let's have an intelligent discussion, right? Let's have an
Well,
intelligent.
if you're head of the police service, you should have underlings. You should have subordinates who are bringing this data and this information to you to tell you we're short staffed. We need new hires. We need new vehicles. I mean, that's what your underlings and your subordinates do, who are also part of the management system. We're not talking about constables, officers who are really out there, doing the policing. There are supervision, and there is a management team. Why is the management team not doing these stats, not using data to help improve the system, help improve the service?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so folks, we're gonna look at so we've been talking about the police. We started out talking about unreported crime, which I want to make one more point on, that there's a lot of crime against tourists in Barbados that we don't know about. I'm
Mm.
telling you. I remember, and I can say it because Miss McLean, she said it on the show as well, where Michelle, there's a crackling in your mic. I don't know if you're hitting on something. Yeah.
Yes.
That. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's a crackling. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me turn off your mic till you're finished.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but we were getting reports, or something was sent to Miss McLean, and I read it as well, from people the overseas. They were now giving their stories of how they were in Barbados, and the crime that they experience in Barbados. So what are we saying is that even among tourists there seem to be underreporting. And the reason for that could be that we want Barbados to be perceived as a safe place. But when you're doing that, what it does is that it opens up people, Michelle, to more crime. It's like the woman, say for example, in St. Philip, that elderly woman who was raped. We were hearing about that on the ground for 2 weeks before that came to the newspaper, because it would appear that somebody wanted to keep that hush hush. That was we were hearing that 2 weeks that was being passed on WhatsApp
Mhm.
from her family and friends, sending it and saying this is a lady from whoever, wherever. The woman was talking, but not until the Nation newspaper brought it to us, then it came to the full public. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, and that
That's
alone,
dangerous.
not even just dangerous. I mean, that skews the data. That skews the data. Now, does the police really know how much crime is really happening? They only know the ones that are reported. They only know. Not everyone says when they come home and their house has been broken into. Not everyone is telling you, some money is missing from, I don't know, their account or what. However, these crimes are happening. That is a serious problem. that will continue going. That's because the people don't feel that the police are going to respond. No, we just discussed. It's going to be reported. They're going to get any resolution,
Mm-hmm.
or and is anyone even respond? Once you send
Yeah.
you create a report, do you get any feedback? I mean, I like I said, I have only had a positive response in my incident. I can tell you that. I'm not
I
here
mean, it
bashing
took
the police.
long. It took long, but when they did
Yes,
respond, it was positive. Right.
there was positive, but I also feel like that was part of the problem because the officer, in my case, had to sit down and like handwrite the report. So when I go to the station to get a copy of the report, I got like a stack of pages that it's not digital. He gave me a copy of the report that he wrote. So that took like a week or two to get back. And then what are we gonna do next? Where should I go? Advise me what I should do next. So that's the thing right there. If did we need to move the police forward in modernizing, helping them get through some of the investigations quicker, helping them write reports quicker. That right there will help build the confidence that someone can report. I don't feel like if I feel like the general public. If you're not going to respond to me, why am I going to report it? Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm not going to get any resolution, whether I have to go to court or the police has to charge somebody, why am I going to report it? Why I'm just going to sit and tell somebody, my friend or my family, this happened to me, and we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward with our lives. I feel that that's part of the problem with the public, that their lack of reporting is because they do not feel that there is going to be any response or any resolution to
Yeah.
their situation.
Yes. We were waiting on Mr. Bob, and it is that I did not send him the link. Mr. Bob, my sincere apologies. Let me make sure I said that the link was sent to Mr. Victor Lewis, because I need him to come in on this. Yes, I sent it to him. Sorry about that, guys. My mistake. But we thank God for the internet, because the internet is making us aware. That's the
Yes,
problem that they have now. It's not hiding up anymore. You're right, VR. The internet is allowing us to know what happens. Okay. This tourists, they're discussing their experience and a lot of things, and I'm glad that people are speaking up, right? I'm glad that people are speaking up. And I want to take a break a little bit and let's look at this song by iWeb. How many of you heard the song by iWeb? Let's take a pause, because I know I could tell people are really into this tonight. This is a good time to like and share, guys. And let's push this up to 1,000 people tonight again. They're trying their best. People are telling us they can't find the show. We're getting messages. People, I can't find the show. So we need you to help, okay? By making sure that you are liking and share. Let's listen to this song by iWeb. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, oh yeah, yeah. Look at the world through a lens that is brand new. Can you in any way pick out the things you once knew? And do you still hold true faith, chivalry and virtue? Or do you now display 21st century values? Everything seemed like it get twist wrong. Right was right and we knew wrong was wrong. But even that upside down in this sweet bridge town, yes. And what can we say to children today if they see criminals getting paid to keep the peace? But hey, of course they must stray. There is no love from one to another. It's all about lust, money and power, no morality in this twisted society. Look at how black men killing each other. Then we talking about how Black Lives Matter. Hypocrisy in this twisted society. One group will rap, the next group with me. Meanwhile, the whole country in Potter reality in this twisted society. In this twisted society. Is a twisted society. Ay, 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 yeah. Just at 2 and 2, we worst fears have come true. Can you honestly say you happy with things here for true? Just check the land issue, land taxes here will kill you. But if you ain't from out here, taxes don't apply to you. One time nationalism was strong, but they can sing in a different song. Just like St. Lucie water, things brown. Been that way too long, yes. And on the world stage, Barbados flying. But back at home, high cost for living. Got the working class struggling to win. Cause reward for work don't work any longer. You just get through singing for your supper only about hey in this twisted society. Pigeons are free to discuss any matter, but be careful speaking against me. That's crystal clear in this twisted society. Online you see a man charged for murder. In the comments they say free man. Social decay in this twisted society. In this twisted society. Here's a twisted society. Now, what have we come to? Like, we really gone through. The music we hear today is about truckmen and getting screwed. Hanging they won't do, cause tint is the issue. So there should be peace out here once your windows they can see through. While we dying in many gun town, gangsters and ministers breaking ground. The whole place twists around. Before fathers would frown. Yes, we heritage sold to the highest bidder. The African bag, not a single dollar. Oh, Mama Africa, Mama Africa. So what do we do to get them to recover? Untwist we mind and work with each other, starting today in this twisted society. Put down weapons and reason the matter. If we self up from out of this squalor, don't shy away in this twisted society. We eat and we drink, we laugh and we gather. Now as a people we must do better immediately in this twisted society. In this twisted society. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. In this twisted society. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Dave, if you could put it back on the screen, just put back the picture on the screen. Let me welcome Mr. Alwyn Bob to the Marcia Week show. Joining Michelle and I tonight. We're just having a discussion on crime, all different levels. But we played this song. Have you heard this song? Did you hear the song before, Mr. Bob?
This is the first time I'm hearing it.
Oh my goodness. What are your thoughts about it?
I think that it tackles the issues and it reminds us why people are afraid to speak out in some areas, and you can't call certain people names in Calypso's.
Yeah.
Because for censorship. But this is a day and age where freedom of speech through song, once you don't label anybody, but you should be able to speak your truth.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the first time when I heard the song, honestly, Michelle, Michelle, you're there. Okay, yeah, muted. I heard the song. I cried, and I cried because more and more, especially this year, we're seeing the activism in Calypso. Michelle is coming back, and I want to thank the loyal opposition. I want to thank everybody for the part that they have played in this. A couple years ago, we would not hear this kind of song, to be honest. And we're seeing there's so many of them, and you guys can um list the songs that that where the Calypsonians are now. We know there is Colin Spencer. We know
Yes.
now there's iWeb. We know that there is it's Colin Spencer, iWeb now, and there's another one that we played the other night. Sammy G.
Mm.
I think it's Sammy G.
Yes.
Yes. And right, so we're seeing the social commentary. It's coming out and things are happening. Classic. Where am I? Yeah, classic. We're seeing that the commentary is coming and the activism is coming. Michelle, what are your thoughts on this song? You're muted, Michelle.
I've been waiting to hear some real authentic uh calypso. Calypso. Um, some of my favorites. I don't want to say I'm still a little Rick a little Rick fan. I, I am. I, I'm still a little Rick. I
Listen,
can't help
we're
myself.
talking about
That was
commentary
my
right
era,
now.
right? But that was my era. That was my era when he,
Yes.
like his commentary was my era. So yeah, I'm still a fan. I'm still listening to some of those songs. Um, the new stuff I haven't heard much of it. Like what we play here on the show, what we
Mm-hmm.
play. Um, I've heard like maybe a few on the road. I listen to the radio during the daytime here. But I don't feel like artists should be censored. That's their art. That's why I said I'm a real fan of Little Rick. He's unapologetic. We may not agree with some of the stuff that he's done, but he's unapologetic about his art. And I think that artists should feel that they should be able to commentate on things that are going on in the country, things that they notice, things that they experience without being censored, without
Yes.
or having to see a lawyer. I mean, like when we had that discussion a few weeks ago about your music having to go to a lawyer or go to um to be screened before it can be played.
Yes.
I don't think that's fair for artists, because what are we
Yes.
telling our younger generation? We're trying to encourage them to be individuals, to be creative, but at the same time you're saying what we have to monitor what you're saying.
Yes. And so we wanted to use a little moment, Mr. Bob, and to recognize those Calypsonians who have put out songs this year so far. We want to encourage them because it's not easy. We know it's not easy here on the loyal opposition. And so there is Colin Spencer. We want to recognize Colin Spencer. When you see his songs, share it because that's encouragement, right? Share their songs, share their YouTube channels. Richard Antonio, he has a song out, Billboard, about the Golden Crown. Classic. We know the
Yes,
Spot the Light. And I
right.
think it's Tammy G that has it. And now we have iWeb. Now we also have Plastic Bag. That song is a serious song about the devil. That is a serious
Devil
song there,
behind
Alwyn.
you.
That?
Yes.
You,
Powerful lyrics too, because it made reference to our children. I remember the survey. Remember what happened at Spring Memorial. So when you listen to this song, he does not touch the issue right up, but it reminds you of those things that have that are happening in our society.
Yes. It's called The Devil on the Loose. So you can go. That is a very serious song. It is a soca, but it is that song is dealing with the issues. Yeah, yeah. So we need to make sure that those voices that are speaking up, that we encourage those voices, guys. Continue to like and continue to share. We want to look at something here tonight. I don't know. I don't know if you can, Dave can put up. We have a PowerPoint, and we're gonna go through it. I'm throwing us all in the deep end, and those that are watching. So okay, I didn't hear this one by Queen Corrine. Somebody can send it to me. So guys, can you Dave, if Dave could get the PowerPoint for me, because what we want to talk about, guys, tonight is the UK, the cars that were stolen. These UK stolen cars being sold in Barbados. Want to look at what went wrong in the import system. And Dave, probably what we should have done first is to put up the actual article. My apologies. And then we're going to go through that. I'm sure everybody watching, you remember the article that talked about the car stolen. We're going to discuss that together. We're here in the studio, and all of you that's watching online, we're going to discuss it together. So if we can put our focus this way, please. Let's focus our attention this way. I feel like I'm a teacher, Mr. Bob, because you have some people in the chat that need to go into the timeout. I
Yes,
believe some of them need to go into timeout. And
it behaving
anyhow,
badly.
I'm serious. Some of them we have got to put them in timeout if you keep disrupting the chat. Focus on what we focus on now, please, unless it's an emergency. All right, so these are high-end cars, and we're told that there were some cars that were stolen from the UK, and they're sold in Barbados. We want to look at the chain, the policy. What happened, Mr. Bob, and what could have gone wrong? I did a little research, and we're going to look at it. But let's read the article. Who can you can see to read, Mr. Bob?
It's a bit better now.
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Bob.
Police have busted an international car racket involving more than 300 high-end cars stolen in the United Kingdom and smuggled into Barbados. So far, a team of specially assigned investigators has recovered 12 of the stolen vehicles and has locked on to at least three major players who they suspect are behind the transnational organized crime. Commissioner of Police Richard Boyce said by early this week officers could be interviewing the suspects, and he also warned some car owners, innocent or not, that their vehicles, once linked to the racket, would be confiscated. We are intent on recovering each and every one of those vehicles, and that is an ongoing exercise, Boyce said. Based on their investigations, Boyce said information was pointing to people who are engaged in the sale of reconditioned, previously owned vehicles as the local masterminds and not the major reputable garages.
Okay. So listen, and this is a good thank you so much, Mr. Bob, that I say let us delve in this thing together. Because I believe this is the only investigation we're going to get, right? Proper. So let's get into there, and we intelligent people put our minds together and let us go through this thing together. So go to the next slide. So what we're looking at, what went wrong in the import system. Okay? The scandal. We've just read it. The cars busted June 15, 2025. That came out in the newspaper. High-end vehicles stolen from the UK ended up in Barbados. This is wrong. They said at least 6 cars confirmed stolen. No, it's 300 cars. So this is wrong, right? Based
Yes.
on right. So that was
Yes.
wrong, guys. It's 300 cars. Some were already sold to unsuspecting Barbadian buyers. So some of these were sold, and they said that they recovered 12. Is that what you remembered?
So we can hide 12 minus 300 is 288 cars, so easy in Barbados.
So right, so 288 cars are unaccounted for. Write that down, folks. So let's write it down. Let's go it together.
So you mean to tell me all 300 cars are sold already? Is that what you're saying? All 300 cars are sold already.
Well, we don't know. They said that the 300 were based on what we were stolen and that they were brought into Barbados. Is that what everybody
That
understood?
is what I read. That's what I read.
That's
Right.
what you read,
Yeah.
right? So we don't know if all 300 were stolen or some still might be in the lot, right? We don't know. Okay, but the police said that they recovered 12 of these cars.
Okay.
Okay, all right, good. So and guys, well, help me to monitor the chat there, Michelle, and see if there's anything anybody's telling us. They can't put any names of anybody, right? Remember. All right, so go up, guys. Go up a little. Dave, one more to go. So the authorities involved is the police is involved, right? And the UK law enforcement. They are both involved in this investigation. All right,
Okay.
go through. So the standard vehicle importation process in Barbados. How are vehicles imported in Barbados? If you are in the business of importing cars, right? This is what I researched, and you can let me know. Okay, if this is a process, the vehicle is purchased overseas,
Uh-huh.
right? Then the export and shipping is arranged.
Right.
Yes, making sense. The bill of lading is issued.
Uh-huh.
A declaration filed via the ASICUDA. It's ASICUDA, and it's a
Yeah.
C, yeah, ASICUDA, and it's a C63 form that is filled out, and that is done in Barbados. And we're going to go into that particular form. It's that form there is that declaration is very, very important, right? Customs inspects and approve. What is custom inspecting? What do we think custom is inspecting?
Um, like there's a regulation on the year, how old the vehicles be coming,
How old the
inspection.
vehicle and
Yes.
all the documents? Do you have
All of
do
that.
you have
Sure.
do you have the proper documents? Right?
Correct. Correct. Make sure that the transaction is done correctly, because in order for you, even as an individual, to bring a vehicle into Barbados, you have to have a broker. Like I can bring merchandise like personal items, things like that myself. I don't need a broker to do that. Send them and then go pick them up. But for sure, in order to bring a vehicle in, you have to have a broker. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I've done it. I bought a vehicle in Barbados. I've had to have a broker. I could not do that by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, one of with the shipping and bill of lading. Let's go back to that. There's with the importers, they're gonna submit a bill of lading to customs, right?
No, this is truly like this is a broker to broker transaction. This is not even
Yes.
like an individual transaction. This is a broker to broker transaction of vehicles.
So where does customs come in? You see, in the imported when it gets to the customs, there's a processing that happens at customs. The imported
Right.
vehicles are
It's
cleared.
discussed with the broker. Then the broker speaks to the consumer, the person who's actually involved in it. Like that person's in the background until they tell you that your stuff is here. But this is like a broker to broker transaction. Am I saying that right, Mr. Tom?
Yeah, but my question, I understand, is a broker to broker, but I'm here now. I'm talking about the customs. Doesn't it
Right.
have to go, whether it is the person or the broker? The point is that you have to go through customs, right?
Right. The custom speaks to the broker.
Right. So whether it is because we are here talking about this is a large
Exactly.
purchase,
Exactly.
right? So
Even
that's
one.
exactly. So we're at the point of the customs. Whoever it is that speaks to the customs. So we are at the point of the customs. Okay. So this part of the customs is very, very important because imported vehicles, they are cleared right? They're cleared via this ASICUDA system, where there's a cross checking of
Yes.
the vehicles, the numbers, identification numbers, and it is supposed to be checked against Interpol and UK databases. Should alert if there have been some, if there's a stolen status.
Well,
Okay.
one thing I can tell you, hold on, Marcy. One thing I can tell you for a fact, I had the paperwork with me personally, and I had to FedEx the paperwork to Miami. If it needed, I couldn't. I had the the original, and I tried to put the copy with the broker with the customs paperwork. That did not work. I had to have the original, so I had to FedEx it was going to stay at the port in
Yes.
Miami until I FedEx the original vehicle title. That's the title to Miami, and then it would not move until that happened. So they received it. Once they received it, then transaction went forward. So you
Right.
have to
So
have.
that's an important point. So
Mhm.
people remember this point here. What Michelle is saying, that when those original documents are very, very important. Okay. And the cross checking happens in the customs processing.
That, yeah.
Imported vehicles, the cross checking that happens, and they're checking for the vehicles identification numbers against Interpol and UK databases. The question is, was this done? Because doing that, it should alert to if there's a stolen status. That's what my research is saying. That if there's if there is a stolen status, then the customs processing, in that processing, that alert should be there.
So
Okay.
you're saying, Marcia, once that was done, they should have gotten onto the streets.
Yes, it would not even have gotten to the streets
It
if
wouldn't have left the port. It wouldn't
it
have
wouldn't
left
even have.
UK port. UK port first. If the documents, that's what happened to me. I had the original in Barbados, and I sent a copy with the vehicle to Miami. They said no. I had to FedEx the original documents to Miami before it could even leave to get it.
And that is a very important point, because that's where the customs, the inspecting and the approval
Exactly.
happens, right?
Exactly.
That is very, very important. Right, then the duties are paid, the clearance issued, and even when let's look at what happened when the local registration at the licensing authority inspection, the vehicle, the identification numbers and documentation are re-verified there at
Yep.
that stage. So I'm speaking about what is supposed to happen. You understand, Mr. Bob? What is supposed to happen at the local,
Yes.
at the local stage of registration, at the licensing authority inspection, the VINs, the vehicle inspection, the identification numbers and documentation are re-verified.
And they're looking at
Faulty
the
or
value.
yes, you're saying something, Michelle?
They're looking at the value. I can put it's only worth $1. They're actually looking at the value of the item when it
Yeah.
gets here.
So the value, but we're in this for this instance, we are looking at what we're tracking is how did these stolen vehicles get here. If you had to verify documents, Michelle, okay, at these very various stages, okay, we're now at registration. We passed customs that was supposed to check with Interpol and the UK databases, right, to see if there was a stolen status. Okay, then we don't know if it happened, but then somebody missed something. We're here at the local registration, and they are looking at faulty or fabricated license plates, right? This is where now you are looking for those kinds of things at the licensing
Well, hold on,
stage.
Mark. Hold on. Let me back it up one thing. The vehicle has an ID number, whether it's a chassis number or it's a what we call a vehicle identification number, and it's located amongst parts of the vehicle. Let's say the door, the engine, all different areas of the vehicle. Uh, these things are supposed to be inspected because you can have stolen parts It's not just one vehicle stolen parts. But what the question is, how did the vehicle even get to the registration point if the numbers are not valid? How did they get in the system to
That's the
be
point we're
registered?
saying, that I'm going to go. I'm going to reach I hope I see CUDA, and I will tell you what that is. Dave, if you could go up some more, I'll go to the next one, please. Okay. Now we're talking about where did the system fail. Okay. Could it be false invoices, which is where Michelle was going, or the VINs, that is the vehicle identification numbers not verified? Did they cross-reference with international databases? Because my research says that we do have this ASICUDA system, right? But which should allow you, Mr. Bob, to cross-reference. The question is, did we cross-reference with international databases? We're trying to say, who dropped the ball? Where did this ball get dropped?
Or maybe, I mean, like you're using educated guess. It could just be as simple as there was never any inspection. Like the containers came in and nobody inspected them. They have certain names on it, and I'm gonna say it. They have certain names on it, and they just didn't get inspected. I'm gonna say it. You're making it. You're making it complicated.
I'm not making it. I'm asking questions.
Academic process, when the article said that there were persons who were part of the reconditioning cars. Go back to the article. So if these persons are custom branding cars, there might be the odd occasion where you allow them some little leeway, because that is what they usually do.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like you're familiar with the person, and he does this every week, every month, every year, and it didn't get inspected properly.
Possible. Well, I am putting the information out there, and we could come up with all kinds of different
educated guesses of how, because Barbados has no borders. We're surrounded by water. It had to get here, and human beings had to make the error of allowing this big error of 300 cars. That's a big error. 300 cars. To get here, and the cars actually are illegal.
Yeah. Well, the automated system for customs data is a computerized system developed by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. So the ASICUDA, ASYCUDA, it's actually an automated system that is developed. It's something by the United Nations, so that you're able to track these kind of things. All right. Dave, if we could go back to the slides, please. Thank you. Right. It could be manual errors or fraud at declaration stage. Where did the system fail? We don't know. Right. Inadequate vehicle inspection or lack of alerts. We don't know. But the point is, and what I want, Mr. Bob, is for us to be able to look at this. Take a look at it. Take a look at what is before us. Let's read a couple. Is there anything there we can read in the chat? Somebody said they go to a shop and those numbers nasty have been changed, or someone allowed them in.
But the number is placed in so many different areas of the vehicle. Like the 300 cars, you have to spend that's I don't even know if that is even feasible. 300 cars, on the dash, some motor parts on the door, different areas that those numbers are placed.
Yeah, someone is saying that I am intellectualizing the system. Well, what I'm doing, I'm giving you the information, right, Mr. Bob? I'm giving you the information. This is the research. and you can analyze and deduce out say what you want to say.
That's what I said. I said, Martha, you give it an
Yeah, but
intellectual.
I deliberately I'm presenting it like that. I'm presenting it without any just information. That's my job. Put it up there and we can always analyze, right? In what? So you're correct. In that. Somebody said be practical. You don't have a system. Well,
Yes. Yes.
I said this is what the research has given me. This is what the system is supposed to do.
But hey,
Right?
I'm gonna throw another one out there. Is do we know that only vehicles came? Do we need to know that? Maybe it was something else included with these vehicles. I'm just putting it out there. Like we're educating people. How do we know that it was just vehicles since all these things were bypassed?
Yeah. Carol is saying it looks like the last point, point here where it's an inadequate vehicle inspection or lack of alarms
Yes.
or alerts. Interesting.
Or just being accustomed to whoever brings in the vehicles and you know trusting the person and not doing the due diligence as that could be. It could be as
Yeah.
simple as that.
Oh, wow.
That's where we are.
Right. All right. Well, I just want us to just put some brain power to it, Mr. Bob. Any thoughts, Mr. Bob, before we move on?
Some context to it because you're saying 300 cars. You're not saying one car. You're not saying two. You're not
So
saying three.
the type of
What?
car.
Mr. Bob, let me hear
The,
it from him. Go ahead,
And
Mr.
we're
Bob.
not saying the type of car. They say high end. And I when you had the pic of the cars, I saw some of them somewhere parked.
that is that the police station?
It looked like police station. That's where we were taken. But I saw some of these being displayed.
Oh, okay.
Yes, before this happened. So these were confiscated, and they moved very quickly from where they were. Because if you're getting a good price for a car like this, then it moves very quickly.
Mm,
Well, here's the question. Every you have to the person who consumer. Let's say the consumer does not know that the vehicle is stolen. Now that person went and spent insurance money, went and paid cash, or went and got a loan to move to acquire one of these vehicles. What happens to the consumer? I did see a little clip from someone from one of the insurance companies discussing um, not necessarily knowing how to resolve the matter because if you took out a loan to get your car, to get one of these cars, or you paid insurance, who, how do you get reimbursed, or do you get reimbursed once
yeah,
the
that
once
that
the police?
that's the question there now. What is going to happen? Let me just finish the just have a few more slides, and then we do some more analysis. I did not see Mr. Lewis there at all. I'm messing up tonight. I don't know what time you came in, but I didn't see you at 8:30 at all. Dave, if you could go to the next slide. Now, this is what this telling you what ASICUDA is, and which is very important that we understand what this is. It's an automated system, and I'm giving you information. Okay, that's my job. It's an automated system for customs data developed by the United Nations. I told you that earlier. Barbados uses the system, submitting customs declarations, verifying invoices and shipping documents. Remember, this is an automated system, Mr.
Mhm.
Bob. Okay? It is used for verifying information and shipping documents. And Michelle just told you that she had to provide original documents. Okay? Calculating duties and taxes,
Mhm.
monitoring trade and risk policies.
Okay.
Important one there.
Profiles, profiles.
Profiles. I'm sorry. Sorry. Right? The issue here is if ASICUDA is not integrated with international stolen vehicle databases, fraudulent vehicles may go undetected. Is our system integrated with international stolen vehicle databases? That's the
Um,
question. Is it connected? Is it connected with the UK, with the US, and not the UK? These were coming from the UK. Mr. Bob, like you wanted to make a comment?
No, I'm just following the what you have written here to get a good sense of what is happening and how
Yes,
it will be resolved. Because those persons who invested lots of money and and for a stolen vehicle, not knowing that it was stolen, there are up the creek. No,
yes, yes. Okay, so let's go. That's why we say who is responsible? Who is really responsible? You know, why is it being, why are they pointing a finger? No, why is the responsibility being left solely and everything being left on the consumer? So let's go to the next slide, Dave. That might be the last one. Questions to ask. Who should be held accountable? Did the customs verified the vehicle's identification numbers against stolen vehicle databases? Who is accountable? Were there red flags ignored in the paperwork? Were they intentionally ignored, or that they were just sloppy work? But still, somebody should be held accountable.
I have another question. That article did not say when exactly this happened, right? What date?
No, it
It
doesn't.
just
It doesn't.
it just says that they are now recovering these cars. They recently recovered. So how long ago did this happen? That 300 vehicles are, illegal vehicles are floating around in Barbados. That's another question. Like you have the public to believe that this, you know, the story is written today or yesterday or 3 days ago, but no one has an idea how long this has been going on.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. The next question here is: did the licensing authority double check the origins of the vehicles? These are the questions and more that we need to be asking Mr. Bob before, in order to determine who should be held accountable. All we're hearing right now is the consumer. The police saying that they're coming to confiscate those cars. And the insurance is saying, well, if you took out if you borrowed money, you're gonna have to pay it back even after they take your car. Is it, the question is, would the seller, if it is passed from going through all of this process that we have gone through tonight, are we saying that the buyer should know that it is stolen? Hold the answer to that question. Should the buyer look at the process that we're going through tonight? Do you think that the buyer should know, or the buyer goes to buy the car and believes that it has gone through this process already, and therefore the buyer is feeling that, well, this is good. There's nothing wrong with this product. Dave, let's see if there's another slide. I can't remember. Concerns raised, as some of you have been raising those concerns. Can Barbados be a target for international criminal rings? Somebody was asking Michelle, asking what else might have come in those cars. We don't know. 300 cars. How many other stolen vehicles have entered unnoticed? These are some of the concerns being raised.
Another question in reference to that article, because I listen to how writers, the journalists write something or their press release, and they may not necessarily investigate it. They just got a press release and they post it. The last thing that the commissioner said in reference to third party sellers. Now, what you're doing is going to change the market. Like you're saying that this problem is only a third party seller problem, and what will happen? We'll create a situation where buyers can only have to go to the dealer. Is that what's going to happen next? Where
Mm.
like you're forced or you're pushed in the direction of not having a choice of where you want to buy your car.
Right.
So
Hold on,
if
hold on to that thought. We're going to get there, Michelle, but a very important thought. But you hold on to that. Huh. What is the impact on innocent buyers? Which is what a lot of people They don't even know which dealership, Mr. Bob, because we don't know the names. They said they have at least three. They know at least three. We don't know the names. And I tell you something, if this was in America, American journalists would have the names already, right? We don't
But
know the names of these
why are they not
people.
why are they not telling the public? Because if you say it's dealer A, B, and C, I would know what dealer I bought the car from, and I would say, okay, well maybe I need to check my papers
But
because
they
I
told the
bought it
pu-
from.
but they told the public not to worry. It's not the traditional garages.
Yes.
That's what they said.
Yes, which well, that's a whole nother discussion right there. You know that, Mr. Bob. But let's move it up a little bit, Dave. Anything else? Any other uh okay. And so there's some recommendations. So if the ASICUDA is not integrated with the Interpol or UK databases, then that you need to do that. That there's mandatory VIN checks with certified international database. The vehicle identification number checks mandatory with certified international databases. Are we doing that in Barbados? More rigorous customs inspections, public awareness and vehicle background checks. Okay, these are just recommendations. I don't know. Is there another slide, Dave? I forgot. I did this and I forgot. That's it. Final word. This is not just about a few stolen cars. It's about system integrity, which is why I went through the system like that in such a manner, because I want us to understand it. For those who everybody doesn't necessarily understand it, but it's about system integrity, national security, and consumer protection. We must demand transparency, accountability, and stronger cross-border cooperation. That's the final word. I know people from the government, they're listening. I want us to be armed with information so you're asking the right questions. Now, I see Mr. Lewis there, and Mr. Lewis, I think because I was getting ready to do this, to present, which I don't normally, I didn't see you there, sir, and my sincere apologies. I was looking for you. I didn't see you. Good night, sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yes, sir. I don't know if you have any thoughts here. We're talking about crime. Any thoughts here about these stolen cars? There were 300 cars. They said that they recovered 12. That means there are 288 that is still in Barbados, whether they are sold or they are the lot. We don't know, right? So I don't know if you caught any of the presentation, any thoughts that you
Yeah,
might have.
I caught all of it. I was here for
Yes.
a little while. You see app or the bit of tool, the digital tool that is being used, the ASICUDA. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the information there stated that Barbados is connected to this system for these areas, but you may have a piece of software,
Mm-hmm.
and depending upon what tools you employ within that software, you pay X or Y or Z as the case may be.
Mm.
So what is showing up there from the ASICUDA software is that Barbados was not connected to the database in order to verify um, databases relative to stolen vehicles. Now, this design could be convenient, and that this is not a tool we need within the package that we want to purchase. So I am saying there that that is by design, and we're looking at white collar crime here, not blue collar. You're looking at white collar crime. And when we understand what happens within the area of white collar crime, one can identify with behaviors such as that, where you design the package with a built-in obsolescence, where it is designed with components that will fail, and fail here is inverted commas. And this is one of the failures. We can see that the investigation wasn't with the average sergeant or station sergeant. That had to be at a high level involving Interpol. And when we have things that involves Interpol, we do understand that, it is not a fly by night. It doesn't involve the average person on the streets. So that is why we have got to be very conscious. And I like what Michelle said. We've got to appreciate that when we can see that these structures have been capitalized on in terms of making money, and we are familiar with this. As far as money is concerned, we don't know what other dimensions of the Barbadian society are being and has and have been infiltrated by these very convenient designs. It is white collar crime, and we must be able to identify with that.
Yes, yes. And Mr. Bob, when you think of white collar crime in Barbados, we don't really see a lot of people being prosecuted and going to jail for white collar crime in Barbados, do we?
No, unfortunately not. A lot of behind the doors and on the carpet settlements are agreed upon, and it just goes away. Take it out of the media, and you settle it. That is what happens in most cases.
I like that. You take it out the media and you settle it, because somebody here is even asking what became of that wheelchair that was only a couple months ago. That the wheelchair was full of drugs. You remember that? A wheelchair that they found in another country. Was it Canada?
Hmm. Hmm.
Was it Canada again, guys? The wheelchair and nothing. Oh yeah, somebody here. They said about the wheelchair. A wheelchair person did. Oh, it's in the UK. It's in England with drugs. What happened to that investigation? So we would just hear about these things, and then we don't. Once it's we know. Once we don't hear about it, we know who might be involved. In that kind of thing.
Marcia, that's what I said about just having a press release. Like, I read the article and it's not telling you when actually this happened, the week of, the month of, because if you're saying there's 300 vehicles and possibly some are sold, there are people out there that are driving around illegal vehicles, and they should know. The public should know. Check your vehicle identification number. Bring your vehicle in for a check, because eventually, it's going to happen. Whether you know how long it takes them to collect these vehicles, uh, you have to turn the vehicle in. So I don't see anything in the article. It's a very thin article. It doesn't say it doesn't give the public any information on what they should be doing. If you're saying that there are vehicles out there sold to the public, what should the public be doing about this? I did see a clip from one of the insurance um, companies discussing, like, yeah, this is like, this is, hurry up and turn it in, or something similar to that. Yeah, hurry up and turn the vehicle in, because some people have loans. Like, you're gonna be indebted to a loan and don't even have a car. And then you know how investigations go. Well, you keep paying while they investigate, and you'll be paying for a car that you do not have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What is interesting about all this story, though, Marcia, because
Yes.
one must be conscious as to the whistleblower. I would want to be able to look at the whole investigation, um, and I would want to hear from the investigators here who initiated who initiated the allegation or otherwise that the stolen vehicles were in Barbados. Who did that? Is it that the investigators here in Barbados sought to dig a little deeper to see what's going on in those fields and reveal this information and passed it on to the investigators in the UK? Or did Interpol found out that something here is going wrong and it's pointing towards Barbados and got in contact with them. So then our investigators had no other option but to make it public.
Hmm.
Mr. Lewis,
You know,
you're
that's a
making
good
this
point.
complicated. Sorry, Marcia. Mr. Lewis, you're making this complicated. We said 300 vehicles. How many vehicles can fit in one container? So how many containers? It should have been triggered a long time ago. If this is 20, 30 containers full of vehicles, how many, I don't know, maybe 6 vehicles can fit in a container? I don't know, 40-footer, I don't know. But how many containers of 300 vehicles came in? It should have triggered something at some point.
triggered by who? That's all I'm saying. Triggered by who?
Yeah.
Triggered by the Barbados investigators, the
Mhm.
investigators here in the police force, or
Yeah.
by Interpol. So Interpol, in doing their investigations, they found out that it is here. So when the whistleblower then came into being, when it became transparent, when it became then evident that this is happening in Barbados and is being declared by Interpol, not Barbados investigations made a declaration to Interpol. Interpol made a declaration to Barbados that this has happened, not is happening, has happened because 300 vehicles they're in on the road, paid for and driving about. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if Interpol hadn't stepped in, what? Maybe it's more than 300.
Yeah. That,
Yeah. And I think Mr. This is why I wanted him on. I'm so sorry he was on earlier because
Mm.
he is a former police, and so he's saying because that's a trend that is happening here. Remember about the same Mr. Bob, the same um what do you call it? No, the UK, the one that happened in the UK with the I'm really like this
wheelchair?
the wheelchair. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
With a wheelchair. That listen, where did we get the news from? We got it from the UK. So
Mhm.
Mr. Lewis's proposition is it could be very right that we got it from Interpol because if the ASICUDA that system is not connected to Interpol, they might have been the ones that alerted us because all of these big busts are generally so far generally the information comes from outside to Barbados. You
It,
see,
it,
Mr.
it, bring,
Mr.
it brings to mind another case some years ago about a yacht. The news came from outside.
Mm,
A yacht,
Remember
yes.
this case?
Mhm.
The yacht with drugs. The news came from outside.
And it's
mhm.
by design.
Came from outside. Well, somebody's giving us here. Adrian, if you hi Adrian, good to see you. If you can send me where you got this information from, Adrian. I don't know if we missed it somewhere. Adrian is saying it's not Interpol, but someone in the UK. But the point though is that it came from outside, is what I think we could say. Who had their vehicle stolen, found out it was on a ship heading to Barbados and called the Barbados police. So
That 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 could be
again,
because those vehicles have GPS. If it's a high-end vehicle, they have GPS. They have identifiers that you can track where your vehicle goes. That could be legitimate story. The individual, the consumer who had the vehicle, realized their vehicle's on a ship or on the ocean somewhere.
yeah, yeah, and so this is why at the beginning I took the pains of going through the processes, Mr. Lewis, going through the processes. You see how and all of those things that we have in place. We went through about 8 processes,
Eight
right?
I
steps.
want to say
Eight
to
steps,
Adrian though. I want to say to Adrian, right?
right?
That
And hold a
any
minute. And it
yeah,
took somebody outside 8 steps in the process, and it took somebody outside to realize where my car is missing. But go ahead,
I
Mister.
want to say to Adrian, any stolen vehicle on a ship being reported, and the police are aware of it, wouldn't make it out of the port. No brokers will be involved in that. Police will be involved in that because they're the third party involved. I reported my vehicle stolen, and my GPS shows it is on a ship heading to Barbados.
Yes. Yes.
Who would take that vehicle then through the customs and process it through licensing authority and end up on the roads in Barbados after a report. No, no, Adrian. I respectfully accept that this occurred, but in this instance, the white collar is much higher than that. That is clearly a stolen vehicle that ended up on a ship.
That is the case in the U.S. From Texas, they found vehicles going to Nigeria, just regular consumer vehicles stolen off the street, and they were on containers going to Nigeria. So,
Mhm. One of the reasons I decided to do this tonight is to empower the us as citizens, because some of you might have bought the car and you didn't know it was stolen, and now all of it is at you. I wanted for you to see the process. You understand, Mr. Bob? I wanted the people
You,
to
you may
see.
you may be empowering other people to check their cars.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, check the
Mm.
cars.
Yeah.
And Marcy, it's not that easy for an individual. I'm telling you, I went through the process, and they gave me, whew, they put me through. They put me through a lot to the point where I don't even know why. I don't even know why I had a broker when I had to go down there and speak for myself. I couldn't get my stuff out. So I, this is white collar to the top. This is at the top. This is not at some guys stole some cars and went and put them in a container. This is a way at the top.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, folks, the lines are open, and we are talking tonight. We really want to keep it on the matter of crime tonight. And while you are thinking about calling and getting ready to call, let me put up the number there. Let me put up the number there. You all know what the number is by now, but we're gonna put the number there. I want with well, the three of us, but especially Mr. Lewis, I want to share with you some some findings that I have concerning from my research about Jamaica. Right? I want to talk about that because Mr. Lewis, what I've found is that the the percentage the percentage in crime is decreasing. Sorry, I'm looking for something and talking at the same time. That Jamaica is really involved in some interesting strategies, and I thought it'd be nice to have someone on tonight who I can discuss some of these strategies with, and of course all four of us we can jump in, and those who are of you are calling as well. And I'm trying to find the information now. I've seen people in the chat says that the only policy that Jamaica has is if it moves shoots it. That's a lie. That's a lie, and that's part of the challenge that we have. You people hear things and just repeat it, and they don't. There's no research that is done. But we have somebody here that's calling. Let me just let them go at it. Good night. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Hey, Marcy, good night, everybody. How are you doing?
Oh, we're doing great. How are you?
Good. I'm really wonderful as always.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we hear
Right
you?
from, right. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Are we hearing?
Yes, I
Can
am.
you
Yes.
hear me
Okay.
loud and
Yes.
clear?
Yes. They're hearing you loud and
Yes.
clear. Go right ahead, please.
Yes. I have a question that I draw to the authorities' attention in Barbados. I travel a lot into Barbados. You know those hotel workers that bypass the immigration and the customs and go outside when the plane landed with a sign bringing in people? Is that
Mhm.
allowed? Is that legal? Don't those people should be getting searched
Okay.
in
So
the
repeat. What are
customs?
you saying again? What are you saying?
Yes, I'm saying, the hotel workers that go into the airport when you're coming into Barbados and they bypass the customs and the immigration and go outside, right? to meet the tourists that is coming into Barbados. I'm
Oh.
asking, is that legal? Do anybody check those people to see what they're bringing into Barbados?
Mm.
One time I asked the immigration department, is that legal? The guy looked at me like I was crazy. I said, there's no way in this world that these people should get allowed out there meeting people with a sign before they enter into Barbados.
Mm. Interesting.
So that is like, these cars coming into Barbados. So somebody in Barbados is going and meeting these cars that come into Barbados. A car is a big thing. What about all the guns that coming in? Who's checking these things?
Mm.
Barbados need to get their checks and balance together.
Yeah.
What Barbados need, my recommendation is what Barbados need is the regional police forces in the Caribbean to come into Barbados undercover and work in these places, and the crime in Barbados will get stopped
Mm.
because there are too many connections between customs, immigration, and the police involving the assuming involving these things. So if we have the regional police in Barbados, then things will change in Barbados because they're not my friend or your friend or I know John Doe, etc., etc.
Yes.
Understand me?
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your call. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
Yes. Let me go to Mr. Lewis, who is a former police. Do you know anything? What the scenario he's posing to us? He's saying that there can be some a loophole there, where someone comes out to meet somebody and then goes back in. Did they do any checks with these people? Mr. Any thought on that, Mr. Lewis?
I've experienced that too, right at the point where you're coming into the passport area, where you can go to the different booths and everything, because you have not returned to the island of Barbados until you pass immigration.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the point of which you transition from overseas to in Barbados, because you must pass immigration. And I agree with the caller that something of that nature should not be happening, because um, I've seen it. I wonder why. But there are a lot of things that we see happening in Barbados now that sometimes it makes you scratch your head. I
Mm-hmm.
was sitting here thinking, and with all due respect, because I want to look at the core of things, the core. And you got to dig deep to go to the core. What happened in Dominica relative to this university moving from Dominica to Barbados? It is not until we, brought to light this matter that we realize, you know, how white collar crimes occur, how things are really formulated in such a way that may seem so transparent, genuine, or otherwise, when deep down inside you're looking to hurt. So I don't know why the folks are outside of the immigration area, but that is a cause for concern.
Your concern, yes. Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much. I want to read a little bit here on the Jamaica issue. I've been trying to do it each night, and then I don't get to do it, but just a little bit, because I want us to look at some of the strategies. So just quickly, they are seeing a 13%, 13.1% drop in murders, shootings 10.3% drop, rapes plunged by 81.1%, robberies are down 11.5%, break-ins down 11.2%, and that was in the first quarter of the year, right? Murders now
Mhm.
down 14.5, shootings, everything is down, going down for them, right? And it was so in 2024, murders overall in 2024 was down 19% in Jamaica. Shooting down 10%, rapes down 25%, robberies down 21%. That's 2024. And they're saying in the first part of the year now, they're seeing that this is happening in Jamaica. Look at the strategy that they have. They had a Get the Guns initiative where they focus a lot on illegal firearms. where they were able to collect a lot of that illegal firearms, and that's an initiative that they started. Actually, was started since 2015, and they continued it and worked. They seem to have put a lot of effort in it, and they seized a lot of firearms and a lot of suspects. Plus, they did a lot of anti-gang raids. In fact, they said they did over 2,750 anti-gang raids, right? And they did what is called intelligent-led policing. They targeted and dismantled gangs and removed illegal weapons. This is what it said that they do. They had strict firearm laws. There's something that they have called a gun court, which I hear Mr. Thorne is asking about this gun court and demanding a gun court where sentences are mandatory, no bail, life imprisonment, and no jury in some cases. Once you have an illegal firearm, that's something we need to discuss. They had what they call high volume police operations. As I said earlier, over 2,750 operations were done in 2024 targeting gangs, right? And of course, there is what is called police resident collaboration, which is a community watch, better policing relations, etc., etc. Okay, so those are some of what they did. They did firearms control, strict sentencing for firearms as acts of deterrence, community policing partnerships, right? Etc., etc. So those are some of the things that the general things that they did, and I would love for us to discuss some of those in our setting. I want to go to Mr. Bob first. Mr. Bob, is there anything there in the Jamaica model that you think that might work for Barbados? Is there anything that you think that we could adopt? I go to Mr. Bob first.
The community side of it we can adopt,
Explain for me, please.
where the policing your neighborhoods become the business of every person living in each neighborhood, that they
Mm,
are watching. We have neighborhood watches in the height in the heights and the terraces, but the normal villages are left to fend for themselves. But we want to encourage all of the those living in those small communities, in the basic communities, in masses, that they become involved in police. They don't see. You find that we have when police go into certain neighborhoods, that it becomes us versus them. We have to stop that. We have to come up with programs where we stop the us versus the police in the normal day-to-day communities, where when community know the police become the friend of the community, and you're glad to see them because we know that we're working with you to ensure that our safety remains important to us.
So you're advocating more community work, and you're calling for the more what you call them again, neighborhood watches. And in St. Philip here, there are lots of different ones that occur. But I think that I don't, I believe that that's something that would be initiated by the communities, right, Mr. Bob?
Yes, yes. And the police
Okay.
becomes the friend of particular communities. You
Communities
don't
are.
have Yes, you don't have to be have this adversarial approach when police come into your community. It be seen as welcome them in. But we
Yes.
see too much of that going around where it is us versus the police in those normal communities.
Yes, yes.
It has to change.
That will need to change. So neighborhood watches and our attitudes towards the police. But let me go to Mr. Victor
Mhm.
Lewis, Mr. Lewis. I'm sorry. My question. So we talked about community policing, but what about the Get the Guns initiative? What about all the different these other the strict firearm laws that they have in Jamaica? They have a gun court and so on. Can you speak to those areas, sir?
I don't want to speak to those directly because you spoke about statistics, yes, and I did look at some statistics myself, and I clearly saw that, and I think you were comparing it to the um, to 100,000 of individuals within a particular demographic, as the
Yeah,
case may
because they're
be.
gonna do it by it's a
Right,
rate. It's not
Pre-
lit. It's percentage.
precisely.
Yeah.
And I saw that, the greatest being Latin America and the Caribbean. They were the highest. And the stats that I examined, I found that St. Kitts Nevis, um, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, all of those countries, you know, were very high, along with Barbados. Barbados was around 11 point, and
Mhm.
Jamaica
Mhm.
is very, very high. In actual fact, at the top of the list,
It
you
is at the
know,
top, Mr.
is
Lewis.
at the top of the
Mr.
list.
Lewis. So hold a second. Let me
Yeah.
just clarify
Uh-huh.
what I'm saying. I'm talking about a decrease that it was higher. There's a decrease. So if they're working on something that is, you're seeing a
Right.
decrease. So what we're looking at is saying, okay, if it is dropping by 17%, based on what what they're saying, what is it that they're doing? Is there
Right.
anything that they're doing that we could do? Or
Well,
there's nothing if there's nothing at all, there's nothing.
when I look at this whole concept of crime, I like to go to fundamentals. And whatever tools that are being employed by them, and you spoke of, some tools that they're using. But I still want to go back to the core. I still want to stay with the core. And the core for me is that, God created this earth and he gave 10 commandments. You know, he says, thou shalt not steal. We were looking at the carriage just now. And if we cannot identify with a moral compass, and if we can see the morality in these tools being mobilized by areas in Jamaica, fine. But we must be able to understand that in order to fight crime, we have got to be able to analyze what is our moral state, what is our moral compass, and work with that. A child sitting in primary school, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. If you steal a pen, then you would steal a bicycle, you would steal a car, you would steal a house, you would steal money. We've got to stay with that guiding principle. So if we can identify with the tools being mobilized by Jamaica, and they are seeking to address the morality of it, then fine.
Mhm. Well, thanks, Mr. Lewis. Michelle, we're looking at the decrease that Jamaica is claiming, and
Right.
it is we research it is all on the internet, and they're saying that the crime is actually reducing. There are some measures that they would have put in place, and the question is there anything in there that Barbados could employ? We're hearing Mr. Thorne is asking for greater legislation as it relates to gun crimes. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, yes, he's talking about it after the fact. I look at Jamaica a little bit different in reference to Barbados because I see that, for example, Jamaica is monetized. People can make money other ways. I know people who work a remote job in Jamaica and they can feed their families. So I'm not necessarily looking at it from a gang or organized crime. The theft starts with just trying to feed your family, just trying to make ends meet. So if Jamaica has opened up uh, where Jamaicans can, you know, basically work and their communicate or capitalize outside of Jamaica. But while being in Jamaica, yes, that can help lower crime. Barbados is not there yet. Barbados is not there where remote work. We talk about remote work by someone who lives outside, who comes in and stays in Barbados and brings their job with them. We're not talking about Barbadians who can actually search for work outside and work from home or work international job from, from Barbados and earn money because of the money system, because of
Mm-hmm.
how the money system is on lockdown. I'm just going to say it. It's just on. It's
Mm-hmm.
locked for
Mm-hmm.
Barbados. So that alone, this is where young people are. Young people don't want to be bodies in the street. Young people want to be able to. They love a phone. They love a computer. They want to
Yeah.
be able to work. They want to be able to be creative online, and that is needed in Barbados. That is needed where people can capitalize on working for someone else outside of Barbados, since there is, I mean, I heard the Prime Minister talk about um, how employment rate is down 6%. I don't know what it was before, but I heard her say something about 6%. I don't know what that means. Does that mean that no one's looking for work? Because that can bring it down. If you're not looking for work, that would lower the unemployment rate, right? So then you're doing crime. You're doing some other way to make ends meet. You're doing crime. So these are the things that help lower the crime rate if you're giving people jobs, giving people ways to make money, giving people ways to entrepreneur. And if the market is low in Jamaica or Barbados or wherever, and they have to do global work, it is important that they have access to that also to help lower the crime.
Yeah, yeah. Someone here, thank you, Michelle. So I think that we have to put things in context and also understand the population of Jamaica. So somebody said, basically refuting what I'm saying, that only today they saw that Jamaica had 300 murders for the year. What is the population of Jamaica? Let's put we're all educated people here. Mr. Bob, you're a teacher, right? Let's put that hat on and think. We're talking here about percentage. We're talking about decrease. Jamaica has a population of 2.84 million, almost 3 million people. Do you understand that? What Barbados is really one parish in Jamaica, and we have 13 parishes in Jamaica. Okay, so let's put it in context.
Right.
Yes, the numbers in Jamaica are high. What I'm saying is that on everywhere that you look, not just what Jamaica is putting out, but you look at the same place that had Barbados' numbers, you will see that Jamaica's numbers there's a decrease that is happening in Jamaica. I'm saying here that Jamaica's numbers are not high. I am saying that there is a decrease. And if there is a decrease over the last 2, 3 years, it is important for us to turn an eye over there. As much as we consider it the murder capital of the world, there is a change. So look to see what is happening. Trinidad's population is 1.368 million. Barbados is a little over quarter million, quarter of a million. One nation is almost 3 million, and the other one is almost 1.5 million. Barbados is a little over a quarter million people. So try to understand it. Everywhere that you see, that you check online, you will see that Barbados' numbers have gone up 3 times as much, while other places are those numbers are falling. So that is what I am speaking of. You have to put everything in context. And I know, since I've been here, I would say, Mr. Bob, I've been sounding the alarm. And this is what you get. You get a lot of pushback. They say when I first did the movie on the crime situation in Barbados, I was told, Mr. Bob, I am putting what's happening in Barbados on in Jamaica on Barbados. Look at where we're at now. You've got to lift your head out of the sand. Look to see what has happened. Mr. Thorne is speaking about this something like a gun court. Okay, these are things that we have to look at. Any thoughts there, Mr. Bob? Nobody's calling. Phone line is open, not lines.
I,
Mr.
I, think, I think that what we're seeing from the present government is looking at situational crime prevention.
Mhm.
Um, they're looking at putting measures in place. We hear about improving lighting roads. We hear about increasing surveillance, whether it is tapping. Those are things that they are focusing on. Putting up more cameras on buildings. So that is what we call situational crime prevention. But what is happening in Barbados, where we are seeing um, women and other persons being attacked as they go home, move around, or even having their jewelry or possession snatched in Bridgetown, can relate to it. We need to look at social crime prevention, where we put social, we look at what is contributing to those attacks at night, where people want to get easy money. Is it the economic factors at this time in the country that is pushing us in that direction? Um, Look at poverty, the level of poverty. How has it increased or decreased over the last 7 or 8 years? Is our educational system meeting the needs of our young people as they leave school? And those persons, is it meeting the needs of those persons who are not the high flyers, who we celebrated the other day, just the other day going to Harrison College? Well, those are persons who end up in the neuroscience schools, and then they're asked to prepare for the same exam in the same 5 years to get the same grade one and grade two, where we know they're starting at a different level. Are we having enough programs for youth, initiatives for youth in the community, job training, community development projects? So what we're saying now is that we need to look at social crime prevention in Barbados.
Somebody here, and I have to address it because I think this is where there's a lot of misunderstanding that is happening. Somebody says here that because they 1 second. Yes, okay. And now there are two calls coming in, right? Just hang on, caller. Let me just address somebody. There's Subred. No, you can from math. If you do math, you understand. Through percentages, you can compare. You compare through percentages, and it is important that you do that. If and what Bihor is saying here, the conversation is this: SOP or SOP. Is there a best practice Jamaica is using to reduce crime that Barbados can use? Simple. It doesn't matter if it's Hong Kong, Jamaica, Greece, whatever. Once you're using percentages, you're able to compare anything. It's simple math. Okay? That's it. So that's where I want us to. I would love as Barbadians that we really we've got a lot of us here have our head in the sand. You're afraid, but you still have your head in the sand because you say we're not like New York, we're not like this country, we're better than this, we're better than that. It's not about that. Okay. All right, so let's hear the caller. Welcome to the Marcia Week show.
Yes, good night, Marcia. I'm hearing that you're putting on your teacher hat. The
Yes.
truth is, you must understand that, hitting at what Mr. Bob was saying earlier too, who's to say that it appears that majority of Bajans aren't really understanding how ratios work, and that Barbados with less than 300,000 people literally is competing with England and their crime rate in terms of deaths and shooting attacks. Anyway, that is another topic for another day. But it appears that if you really sit and listen or watch what the Prime Minister did as it relates to education, no fingers pointed at the Barbados Youth, what is it called? Barbados Youth Advance. Or I'm not saying that slash youth service or spin off of that, whatever you may want to call it. But the problem I'm seeing too, and the reason I'm speaking about this is because it intersects with crime. The reason I'm speaking about that is that if you realize that post-COVID, that many children probably were disadvantaged, and the real issue is the socioeconomic ability to either be able to afford extra lessons or that plus food and basic survival. When you put all those things in the juxtapose, indeed would cause us and those structure within the education system. And teachers would understand that, because many teachers would always talk about how they would have to give children lunch and whatever, to help or facilitate that. So that is one thing. And the other thing is, I was listening earlier to the program as it relates to the policing of the country. And as well, not only as a former police officer, but it's just common sense. If you realize that in your ratios of looking at response times to certain things, or to serious crimes to that matter, you must understand that police officers are human too. And I made a comment in your chat earlier about, are you there? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing, yes.
Oh, right, sorry. And I made a comment earlier in the chat. It was a Belgian parlance talk about that versus shotgun. And the reason I'm saying that is this. The Prime Minister, or the BLP for that matter, is going to continue these foolish gimmicks about burning and destroying all fart guns. Listen to me. These guns that were, I should say, I call it rapid fire, the rapid fire or automatic weapons that you see being used in Barbados. It's not those old guns that people are talking about. I don't know if it is that. Only Dominica and situations where major control or macro control is needed, that you call in army personnel. But that is not necessarily needed. What I think has to happen, or should happen, in the case where you find a lot of high-powered weapons on the ground, is to upgrade the carry of the police. It can't be that hard. In other words, every man, jack and woman, jail, inverted commas, and it's not about how it looks. It can't be that, oh shoot, we don't want police carry. Why is it in Trinidad? Most police officers have the short rifles, and it doesn't mean that they are dictatorship. It is that Trinidad is actually, as the Belgians said, up to the time, they know that in their borders they have encountered a plethora of illegal weapons that has already flooded that country.
Mm-hmm.
Barbados is yet smaller than Trinidad. And per capita, when I say per capita, as it relates to in the parishes, because if you were to do something called mapping, you would know what mapping is if you watch crime shows. But you have red pins, and you put red pins in areas that are problematic and what red pins. If you were to do that in Barbados, you would hardly see the map, because in every parish, without calling names and streets and that sort of stuff, you have situations where easy access to weapons abound. And there are many ways of solving crime, not only just by the physical thing, but the linguistical nuances. And I would leave you on this one. And remember, it was a stabbing or was a killing? No, but it was a shot in Christchurch. Where I'm going to listen to that, when you hear some person talking about they're going to come back, which is Belgian parlance, they're not going to come back for well, that's providing it's not stashed in nearby or is a place nearby. But usually linguistics in every like in Jamaica the same way too. I don't know how they would term it.
Yeah.
But they may not say I'm going to come back in Jamaica. But when you hear some person talk about going to come back, they're not going to come back to bring a big rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're hearing that a lot all throughout the parishes, that is a gauge. A Socratic gauge of the easy access to high-powered weapons on the ground.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, caller, because I think there are two others and the time is going, but very, very important contribution there. Thank you so much.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Let me see if we can get these other two calls in, guys, before we go tonight. There's somebody. Okay.
Marsha, let me say something also in reference to.
Yes, really short, because go ahead.
If we think about optics, the reason why Barbados Police Force don't carry like high-powered weapons, optics in Barbados. You have visitors on the island. Do you want it to look like, like there is a military or some sort of crime problem, so you don't have guns? No one sees them. That also, optics can be a real hindrance in solving crime.
Very, very important there. I'm calling back this caller. Caller, you can't say I didn't call you back and then get upset. So somebody worked out the murder rate, and it's something to think about. And I'm saying to Barbadians, take your head. Oh, Dave has a picture that he has with your head in the sand. And if what Kenneth has worked out is the actual rate per 100, 9.28 for Barbados, he's saying, and 10.78 for Jamaica. Think about it. Think, think as to where we are. And that is what, as VR is saying, come to the front of the class, VR. If there are best practices in Jamaica, is that something that, is there anything from this country who is considered the murder capital in the world, right? Is there anything we can learn from them? Anything at all? Anything? That's the thought tonight. The caller is on the line. Good night, caller.
Good evening, Marcia.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
And I like your interpretation of the figures. Only a couple of weeks ago, I heard a host of another program on another station said, I heard him say that figures don't lie. But what he failed to say, but it depends on how they are presented. Now, about 3 months or so ago, I heard some figures for Trinidad. And I know that Trinidad's population is about eight times ours, and Jamaica's is about 10 times. So carry out a magnification, multiply Barbados by 10, and multiply the number of crime, serious crime or murders or whatever by 10, in the case of Jamaica, and do the same thing for Trinidad. And you would come up with the same sort of result as the person who just said to you, Jamaica is 10 point something and Barbados is 9 point something. Now, I am scared about those figures. You don't look at the actual number, but you have to magnify it
Correct.
accordingly. And then you would get at a real, at a true picture. So I am in total agreement with how you presented it. And for a while now, I've been saying, I prefer to walk the streets of London. I haven't gone to London recently. I'm not saying London is any place we order. I prefer to walk the streets of London. I haven't gone back to Canada really too often. I prefer to walk there, and I feel more comfortable than walking the streets of Bridgetown. And people said, man, you just like, you like to go up there. I said, no, it's a fact. I would not walk the streets of that Bridgetown after the sun has gone down. And I'm talking about Bridgetown. To begin with, you've got to wait long for a response from the constabulary. You've got to wait, and you can walk or you can drive for a while before you see one. Now, in Jamaica, is this decrease or decline with respect to last year, or was it over the last X months? How are you presenting it? Are you presenting it by histogram? Are you presenting it by graph? So this is why I said it depends on how you present your information. You see, so if you present it by histogram, you get a better understanding of exact pie chart. That's nothing but that there. Then there's other highfalutin ways of interpreting it or presenting it. But what you must first find out what is causing the crime. Everybody says, not everybody. There's a whipping horse, 11 plus. Marcia, I don't go there. We have to look at COVID. But pre-COVID, crime and falling academic levels were present. But as an American civil rights leader said, he said COVID was the comparison. What is it again? Anyway, the dice which you use. The word isn't coming back right now. Dice which you use to diagnose certain illnesses. You give you a die, contrast medium. That COVID is the contrast medium that we were long waiting for, but didn't know how to get it, and it came, and you were able to see, well, look, because of COVID, it shows up that the society is suffering from certain malignancies, and it escalated. You know, children spending 18 hours and more on the smartphone. What cultures have we imported? You know, what contacts have you made? So, and it's a lot because it's so multifaceted, right, or multifactorial, that it takes committees, big committees, to sit down and work out where have we got hardship, Marcia. Hardship. There's something called hardship, which the court had no time for. Then there is unemployment. We talk about the unemployment that is on, how many jobs the hotels are going to bring, how many jobs the bath, the bashi, but when you restoration, and Mr. Lewis will be able to talk to you about that in the right neck of his woods. But when I saw on my front page some Sundays ago, Chinese at work on that project, they're the ones who supply the money. They're the ones from whom we get the loans. Then they're the ones who are executing the project. Then they're bringing in workers. So what is left for our youngsters? But our youngsters are being told, oh, y'all ain't want no work.
Yeah.
And if you tell people that often enough, they will begin to believe it. But you cannot give a youngster $75 a month, not a week. Okay? Not a week, sorry, $75 a day. And he has to pay something like 7 and 3, $10.50 a day for travel. He buys lunch and snacks, which is probably another $20, $25. What is left for him? Okay, you ask yourself, are the Chinese paying national insurance, which will secure a pension for our people down the road? These are things you've got to look at. So where are we benefiting? We got to pay them back. But it is not helping our young. I got into conversation with some, what I would call soft hair, olive skin people at the Royal Bank about 2 months ago. And I said, hey, these guys talking Spanish. Let me get it. Let me see if the language is good. And I called over one of them, and I got into conversation. He was pleased that he could find somebody with whom to speak. And then I checked it out. There are guys from Cuba who are working for a hotel in around the Hastings area. Now, years ago, you would have seen boys from St. Matthias, Dells Road, Bayland, Bidden Hill going to those jobs. I'm talking about laborers. You don't want a skill to be a laborer. Okay, don't let anybody fool you. And now, in the bank, there were about 20 Cubans, and now I have nothing against the Cubans. I have nothing against the Cubans. The reciprocity, they looked after the IKEA and whatnot. I have no problem with that. But there are persons other than Cubans who are here. And these are the things that fuel the crime. So it's not any one strand or any one element that you can pinpoint. You've got to put the brains there and work it out. You see, so first you've got to find out what is fueling it before you can cure it. And I just remember being in Canada. There were times when Canada says, look, we shut the door to migrant workers because the economy is down. We got to keep work for our people first. We have to keep the work for our people first. And it is going to get worse if you tell the fellas, well, look, it's $75 as opposed to $100, and people seeing hardship, unemployment, penetration of external cultures. I am not a sociologist. I didn't do social theory, but I've read enough and I understand enough, and I applied pure science techniques to be able to come up with a reasonable answer. So that is my contribution.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thank you. So I'm glad that you called in. This is former Senator Gill, and we did discuss that you would call in tonight, and I told the people you would. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah. All right. So it's 10:05. 1 second, Mr. 10:05. So we're going to go around and make our final comments before we close out tonight. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Lewis.
Now, I wanted to comment on what the gentleman said just now. If you may give me a minute or two, can you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're making our
Yeah,
final
yeah,
and we're
right.
closing. So go
You
right
see,
ahead.
what the gentleman said just now, there's a school, St. Elizabeth Primary School. There's some work being done there opposite the St. Elizabeth Primary. And I saw something there that shocked me relative to what the gentleman just said. There was this Chinese guy that came in, measured boxing to repair a bridge, measured it up. They put on the boxing and pour the concrete. And the Chinese did that, and I'm also a former industrial arts teacher, and it really bothered me as to why is it that we have to bring a Chinese into Barbados to put on boxing on a wall that's broken, just nail on the boxing and pour concrete. We paid a Chinese to do that. That
Mm.
same area of work, they were doing these gabions with the baskets. I saw some Bajans were there and they brought it out from the base. And when you saw the work that the Bajans did, you saw a horizon on a cam there. Then the Chinese came in and put on the top layer,
Mm.
and you saw a horizon, that is reflective of a horizon in a storm, and that was very deplorable as far as I'm concerned because all the work in that area should have been done by Bajans. I still want to go ahead and say though that the work that's going on the East Coast now, the Chinese they're doing a very good job there, repairing those culverts. But what I saw there opposite St. Elizabeth Primary, it was very disappointing to me that for all these years we have trained artisans in our country and we've got to pay a Chinese to put on boxing and pour concrete. I think that was very disappointing. And, I do support the gentleman in his call.
Yes. Thank you so much. Michelle, your final thoughts before we close tonight.
You're
Oh,
muted.
you're muted, Michelle.
I wanted to add to what the caller was saying. And when he was saying that no young person is going to accept $75, but because, most of it will go towards transportation or,
Much.
other things. Um, I don't understand the Chinese program, or I'm just going to call it the Chinese program. They have housing, like, if they don't have to worry about housing, if they don't have to worry about certain things, then they can accept $75, right, a day. So that's another situation that we have to look at. Like, what is actually the compensation? What is the actual contract for the Chinese person? Because if their government is giving them paying for housing or whatever the case may be, no, a Belgian worker cannot compete with that. He cannot compete with that type of program.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so
If
much,
I may
Michelle.
inject here quickly, though, if I may inject here quickly,
Really
I,
quickly,
I
half a minute
yeah,
because you
I
got
was informed. I was informed that the Chinese money are being used for those projects, not money from Barbados. China paying for those projects, and maybe that's another discussion somewhere down
Yes,
the line.
some other
there
time.
you
Yeah.
go.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you. Mr. Bob, as we close.
I'm a community person, having grown up in St. Peter and St. Lucie, and I want to
Yes.
see um, that the crime fighting in Barbados, that there's a collaboration between law enforcement,
Hmm.
the communities, social service providers. Um, I'm disturbed that even at the school level, and you ask a child to say something about particular act, they're snitching. But we have to reach this stage where the community becomes comfortable with the police, that they're comfortable reporting crimes. Neighborhood watch programs, even not just reserved for the heights and terraces, and more public awareness campaigns that they want to see. And because
Yeah.
we have to save our communities. Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. And I love how you brought that in tonight because in St. Philip on the 29th, guys, not the 22nd as we were saying, because we realized we needed to take some time and to really put it together. We are speaking a lot with people who are living in St. Philip. Quite interesting to get their feedback. And we're going to be having a motorcade and a prayer drive. It says both a motorcade and a prayer drive on Sunday. It's Sunday and it's going to be the 29th. Okay. The 29th on the Sunday, and we're starting early. We're assembling at 1:30, Mr. Bob, and then we're going to go off at 2 o'clock. And it's going to be lots of fun. We're going to come out, stop at certain places that are problem spots. We're going to pray. We're going to have people talking about the same thing you were talking about, Mr. Bob, about these neighborhood watches in the villages. Talk to the community. We're getting, safety advice. So there's a prayer, but it's practical. We're using plastic bag song, Get Thee Behind Me, or Satan, or what he calls it, Devil on the Loose. That's going to be our theme song. He's from St. Philip, and we're going to be driving through. We're going to pray. We're going to speak. We're even planning to get some little leaflets that when we stop, we can, give to residents of how to keep yourself safe. How do you strengthen your neighborhood watch? How do you start a neighborhood watch? So we're going to be doing all those different things and working. We're going to be calling District C, to get some thoughts from them, some ideas, some contributions from them to what we're going to do. All right. So listen out for that, folks. And we say, come on down. The police will be with us, and we're going to be in our cars, and we're driving through together. You're going to be safe. Don't worry about that. All is going to be well. It's Sunday, and it's the 29th. Get in your car, fill up your car, put people in your car. We're going to put a vehicle there in town at Freedom Square, Freedom Park, and you can get in the vehicle, put a donation. That vehicle will be in the motorcade, and it's going to take you right back to town. Okay, so I hope you're going to come, Mr. Bam.
Pardon me?
I'm saying I hope you're going to come.
Sunday evening, yes, I'll be free.
Yes,
okay.
And you were talking a lot about exactly what we were discussing last night in our little meeting with the neighbors about this, having these watches, neighborhood watches. Very, very important. Okay. Thanks to everybody. Thank you, Mr. Lewis, and thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob. And we had some great discussion tonight. God bless you all. To the viewers, they were very lively tonight, I tell you. So tonight we say, get thee behind us, Satan. Get out of Barbados. We're running him out of all the communities, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. And so tonight we are driving them out of our communities. Go ahead, Dave. Play that song. Get thee behind me, Satan. And let me get to dancing here. All right, Dave, play the song. No, he's not playing.
The devil will here, so please be aware. The devil on the loose, the devil on the loose. So protect your soul, cause he's on a roll. The devil on the loose, the devil on the loose. So don't be a victim, keep resisting. Hold on to your children, keep protecting. And when the devil comes, well, you just have to say, yeah. Get out behind me, Satan. Get out behind me, Satan. Push back on the devil, push back on the devil. Don't get caught in this spell, cause you will not fare well. The thing to do is simply tell the devil, go to hell. The devil, the devil, the devil, watch the devil. He will not relent, cause he is hell-bent. The devil on the loose, the devil on the loose. This guy as well, you just cannot tell. It's the devil on the loose, the devil on the loose. So don't be a victim, keep resisting. Hold on to your children, keep protecting. And when the devil comes, well, you just have to say, yeah. Get out behind me, Satan. behind me. Satan, push back on the devil. Push back on the devil. Don't get caught in this spell, cause you will not fare well. The thing to do is simply tell the devil, go to hell. The devil, the devil, the devil, watch the devil, the devil, the devil, the devil. All around you temptation, look around you temptation. All around you temptation, look around you temptation. Just say, yeah, yeah. Get thou behind me, Satan. Get thou behind me, Satan. Push back on the devil, push back on the devil. The thing to do is simply tell the devil, go to hell. Get thou behind me, Satan. Get thou behind me, Satan. Push back on the devil, push back on the devil. Don't get caught in this spell, cause you will not fare well. The thing to do is simply tell the devil, go to hell. The devil, the devil, the devil, watch the devil, the devil, the devil, the devil. All around you, all